Rachel, so this last week was Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah.
Dropped a ton of news that we didn't even know this stuff was coming at all. And Rachel just texted me, we're having a long episode on Wednesday.
Star Wars, Transformers, Godzilla, animation, whatever else. Rebels, robots, and etc.
But she texted me that after I'd actually already gone to bed, and I woke up the next morning on Resurrection Sunday, aka Easter, and so that was the first thing that I saw. That was the first thing that I saw was we're having a long episode on Wednesday, and I just responded, iconic text to wake up to on Resurrection Sunday.
I think it's important to talk about the picture I also sent you.
I actually don't know what that is.
I don't know what the source is either. It's just a man holding like a cigarette, looking just absolutely just done and exasperated.
It's Starformers night. Welcome to Rebels and Robots and
really just Star Wars
and kind of etc. Really, it's just Rebels. We're all
Andor.
Rebels. All Rebels episode. Well, I mean, there are robots,
all rebels.
definitely. Little anxious robots who are afraid to be left alone.
Oh, I have one of those. I pointed to a
It is episode 76. We are firmly into We Should Be Dead age, if this was.
The pause between we should be dead age. Oh my gosh.
I'm Cameron.
I'm Rachel.
And this is our bi-weekly chat, but for the next month will be weekly chat. We're back to weekly, like we started off for our first year. Weekly chat about Star Wars and sometimes
Transformers.
And
Cameron lets me.
What else do we both want to talk about? But really, I mean, I actually do have a piece of Godzilla X Kong news.
Oh,
which is
you should
really
probably
exciting.
start with that.
Yes, but this is going to be Star Wars heavy, my friends. It is an exciting time.
Big Star Wars.
Every time I think, man, Star Wars, we're not going to really be able to be a Star Wars podcast for a while. They just keep throwing stuff at us, man. It's crazy.
I know. I was texting about that in our group chat, and I said, Cameron, we're not going to have a lot of content. Star Wars Celebration.
But so to just start off with the Godzilla X Kong news, I'm surprised you don't have this because this actually ties together two things that we cover.
I kind of got really tired trying to keep up with Celebration.
We got the next Godzilla X Kong movie, which I think is supposed to come out in 2027.
2027.
I think is going to have Sam Neill in it, the lead actor from Jurassic
no
Park.
Way.
Is he New Zealand or Aussie?
He's New
actually.
Zealand.
So it's kind of a fun another crossing over of our different subjects.
They have the opportunity to do the funniest thing.
I suspect there'll be some level of Jurassic Park reference in there. So that's all we got. No, not much more information on top of that, but
That's beautiful. That gets a woo from me.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I forgot. News, woos, and boos. A big woo to start off.
It's a big woo for me.
This might be oops only woos, depending
only
on
woos.
what. Let's go in order of like least exciting to most exciting. So, what is the piece of news? I mean, you can do it. Rachel's so disappointed.
Scroll down to the bottom of my notes.
I don't want to start big and then end in. Also, they announced an expansion pack for whatever video game.
I do have actually, honestly, some least important news.
Okay, give it to me.
A new game is coming out called Star Wars Zero Company. So I kept up with Celebration as best as possible. Sure. Honestly, there's just so much. We're not going to talk about the new figures. We're not going to talk about some of that stuff. Like,
wow, restraint on your end.
Hey, one of my Studio Series Transformers figures came in, and I did not have him on the table.
Next episode, perhaps.
Yeah,
we'll have more
I can go get him.
Space in news. Bring him out next time. We'll be back next week.
Bring him out like he's in the guest room. Yeah. He's actually in my office. Anyways, so a new Star Wars game is coming out, Star Wars Zero Company, and the game that everyone has always requested. I'm kidding. It is a single-player turn-based tactics game. You know, the type of Star Wars game that everyone totally wants, not an open world customizable game.
As with classic, not classic, like it's now a classic for modern video games to have an amazing launch trailer. Mm-hmm. It's super cool. If this was like a show or like a more hands-on video game, the gameplay looked fine, but the actual like cinematic trailer, so it's kind of a.
You do get you do get to customize like your main playable character, but there's a Jedi, there's a Mandalorian, a clone trooper, a droid, and I think a mercenary of some form. So,
and it's during the Clone Wars though, and so it's
as usual,
this kind of has the vibe of what I think Bad Batch felt like it originally might be. Bad Batch just ended up being an expansion of Clone Wars for the most part. This actually feels like maybe more of what I want out of Bad Batch, which is the kind of seedier side of the Clone Wars. It's not Bad Batch's fault that it took place after the Clone Wars, but like this is potentially a more it kind of feels like Rogue One, but for the Clone Wars era. I feel like we always end up talking about video games, and then I end up not having played them, though I did one. Actually, I forgot there's a piece of news on that, but it looked cool, bare minimum. So what was it called again?
Star Wars Zero Company.
Zero Company, yeah. So I mean, it like the art is cool, the cinematic trailer is cool, the actual gameplay footage looks cool. The main guy, the main like human that they have at the front center looks kind of like Andor.
They said he's customizable.
I see.
But he does look very Andor. I bet they did that purposefully.
On Star Wars video games content, they did officially, not that anyone listening cares about this, but I care. Not that, and also I haven't played the game. So we talked last year about the free Star Wars mobile game online hero shooter called Star Wars Hunters. They officially announced that they're shutting it down at the end of this year. It did not go well. It was a fun game.
I feel bad for anyone that spent money on it.
Well, the thing, yeah, that is true. So I don't really feel bad for anyone who spends money on cosmetics, because why are you spending money on cosmetics? But that's neither here nor there. It is, I mean, I think it was a fun game, but I was also only playing it because it was Star Wars. I bet there are better, I guarantee that there are better versions of the same game out there.
Yep.
But it was still fun that it took place within Star Wars. It did teach us about the blind, at least taught me about that species of human-like people who are blind but can still kind of see, still extrasensory. That's really all there is to it. Next bit of news. What's your next bit of news?
More of it. I have like a bunch of really small ones that are just kind of like, oh, okay. Star Wars Outlaws is getting a second story pack. It's called A Pirate's Fortune. It's coming out in May. So coming out with just another little DLC, because a $90 game totally needs another DLC. I don't know how much it costs, or if you have it, it just shows up. But
sure, it's
still a game that I think I'd like to play.
Seems like one of those games you'd probably have a better opinion of it if you paid like $30 or $20 for.
I'd pay $50, I think.
So like,
I'd pay Jedi Survivor $60.
Just like it seems like it does. It's probably not good enough for full price, but it's probably pretty fun for a few hours if you pay it at a discount.
So
would be my guess.
Who knows? Throws up on sale, I'll probably grab it. I'm also on a video game ban right now. I banned myself from buying video games. I'm not banned from.
The High Council of the video game world of gamers did not ban you from playing.
My Epic Games account was like, you got like 600, you got like 200 games you haven't played. I'm like, yeah, you right. They do a free game every week. Who am I to pass it up? Some of them are really dumb. I'm not getting them, but yeah. Other basic ones. Lucasfilm Animation has been in existence for 20 years. So
that was a cool video.
Yeah.
They did like a 3-minute little documentary.
I didn't see the video. I just saw the fun family photo that they made.
Oh, I missed this.
So
that's cool.
It's not all the characters, but you kind of have some fun. It's on their Instagram. They did a fun little collection of major characters. The thing that really makes me laugh is there's a Star Wars Detours reference in it. Little chunky stormtrooper.
Oh, okay. Oh, Detours.
The
Star
Wars Detours.
The one that never got released.
Yeah, the one that never got released.
Yes.
So that was honestly kind of fun. Then you have my favorite. This is the only
Zeb and Callus together.
Cameron. But yeah, it's kind of fun. You have ships.
The cool bit of information that I got out of the little 20th anniversary celebration video was that George Lucas, in his first semester of film school at USC, his only film class was animation, and he had to do animation himself, and it got him excited in the potential of storytelling for animation. And the part of Star Wars animation that most people do not talk about, might not even know about, is that between episode 6 in episode 1, the Dark Ages for Star Wars, depending on who you ask. The biggest things that they produced were 2 cartoons, an Ewoks cartoon and a Droids, aka C-3PO and R2-D2 cartoon, and they were terrible. I've never seen the Ewok one. I've seen images. It looks bad. The Droid one was bad. So, like, the seeds were planted a long time ago for Star Wars to eventually get good. Inconsistently good.
Get good.
Yeah, at animation. And it is crazy that it was not established officially, though, until 2005. And, our boy Filoni ushered that in. And
Our boy Filoni.
so,
Mr. Hatman.
yeah. What else? What's
The Hatman.
he is the Hat Man. When people say they hallucinate a Hat Man when they're sleeping, it's Dave Filoni. What's next?
So I'm bringing it up because we talked about it. There will be a second season of Light and Magic.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm actually kind of interested in watching this one, mostly because so the picture they have released includes a dinosaur, which is probably going to be later Jurassic Park or earlier Jurassic Park.
Yep.
Star Wars, as always. A Twister. So I'm guessing from the original Twister, but the most important thing is Davy Jones from the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy. Caribbean, if you I don't care. We don't pronounce things correctly on this podcast. I would actually kind of be interested in watch that. I don't know if we have to talk about it. I might just watch it on my own because I love Davy Jones. I love the first 3. Actually, I won't get on too much of a tangent because we're all going to be on too many tangents. At World's End is actually my personal top ranked of all the Pirates of the Caribbean films. It is my favorite out of all of them, above the first for me. We don't have to argue about that right now. But anyways, that CGI has aged beautifully. Like, you still watch that. At World's End came out in
2005.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2005. You compare it to some CGI that's getting out right now, and look, you can the money, the time, everything's like cranked out. It's beautiful. So I would actually be kind of curious to see if they talk about that, because it's mwah. Chef's kiss.
Yeah, totally agree. So yeah, I'm shocked. So just to fully clarify for anyone who wasn't sure what we're talking about, there was a documentary series on Disney Plus about Industrial Light and Magic, which is the visual effects arm of Lucasfilm that then went on to go do other movies outside. They're kind of the like industry standard at this point for visual effects.
Yeah.
And
you see them on a lot of stuff.
And so they one of the big reasons people love Star Wars is because of the visual effects, and this part of the film production is the reason. So it's a really interesting documentary. It got a little dry at parts, but ultimately it was very especially the early episodes where you got to learn about like the people who started it was really cool, and their processes and their creativity, all really cool. It felt pretty comprehensive, so I am shocked at the announcement of a second season. It's cool that the first one did well enough to justify a second season. And I'm really interested. Did you mention a release date for that?
Oh, now apparently
it's out.
According to the screenshot that I took last week from Instagram, watch Light and Magic Season 2, now streaming on Disney+.
Oh, crazy.
I didn't read that far.
Yeah,
I just went, oh!
So it's out, so we can kind of just talk about it at any point in the future.
I saw Davy Jones, I just screenshot it. I was like, oh.
And it's 3 episodes.
Well, we're not doing anything right now.
Oh,
so.
no, yeah. Which we did not say at the top of the episode. We're talking about Andor Season 2, the first 3 episodes today, if it's not clear.
Big spoilers if you are...
Yes, so
if
true.
you've not seen it. We're jumping straight into it. This is...
we'll talk about it. What's next on news?
This is via Screen Rant, so who knows if it's true. But Taika Waititi's Star Wars film is still in development, but is now being written by Tony McNamara, aka who's written Poor Things and The Favorite, neither of which I've seen.
Yeah, I've not seen Poor Things. I roughly know what it's about. Favorite that's an interesting choice. I'm gonna see if I can find. That is bizarre. This thing has been in parallel news.
Oh, do you know what else he did?
What?
Apparently he did Cruella 2.
Oof.
He's also done Ashby in 2015. Don't know what that is. The Great, which is a show on Hulu about Catherine the Great. Oh, sorry, no, he did not do Cruella 2. That doesn't exist yet. He did Cruella, like the 2021 movie, which is... The Rage in Placid Lake. I don't care.
And as long as we're talking about Star Wars movies that are never going to get made, they did also announce that Ryan Gosling is going to star in a Star Wars movie or show. I thought it was movie, directed by, I'm going to totally blank on his name. He's actually a bizarre director, most recently known for Ryan Reynolds movies. He directed Deadpool and Wolverine. He directed the Netflix one that I'm totally blanking on what it's called, the Adam Project, or something like that. And
so you say Star Wars movie that will never get made. They confirmed a theater date for it.
They have done that. Look, until a Star Wars movie is in theaters, I don't like. At this point, they've announced so many. They didn't give a title. They didn't give a plot synopsis. That is,
Yeah, they did.
Did they really?
Yeah.
A plot. Oh, they did give a title.
Star Wars Starfighter.
Yes. Well, they've also announced the same movie once before, effectively, with the woman who directed Wonder Woman. They announced a Rogue Squadron movie. So
they're saying it. Well, okay, maybe not a synopsis, but they're saying so. It's set 5 years after Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Set to go into production this fall and premiere on May 28th, 2027.
I'm just saying, they announced 3 Star Wars movies a year ago. The Rey movie, the Jedi Origin movie. I think there was maybe one more.
Dave Filoni's.
Was that
6.5.
it? Okay, yeah. So those other 2 we've heard nothing about since. So what I'm saying is, I'll believe it when I see it. Regardless, the director.
I am intrigued, though.
I am excited for any Star Wars movie at this point.
Please, content.
So Sean Levy, we need to talk about this guy for a second, just because if he's going to be a Star Wars director, I knew his most recent films, just that he directed them, which is Deadpool and Wolverine, Adam Project, Free Guy was the other Ryan Reynolds one. Those are all 3 Ryan Reynolds movies.
Well, thank God it's not Ryan.
I did not realize he did 8 episodes of Stranger Things.
Huh.
But he also did all 3 Night at the Museum movies.
You know what? I enjoyed the first one. I don't think I've ever seen the other 2.
He also did Cheaper by the Dozen and the Steve Martin Pink Panther movie.
Wild. What a range.
He also did Big Fat Liar, the not Macaulay Culkin, Frankie Muniz, Amanda Bynes movie. So this guy's had a bizarre career.
Do you think he probably wanted Ryan Reynolds for the spot, and then everything went down with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, and when he gave his script and elevator pitch to Disney, he just like scratched out Reynolds and wrote Gosling. He went, they liked him in the Barbie movie.
Or just like the last name got smudged, and they're like, Ryan, which Ryan? Ryan Gosling? He's like, yes.
Yes.
Did I get the movie greenlit? Then yes. Ryan Gosling in a Star Wars movie feels very parallel to Jude Law being in Skeleton Crew. So I'm all for it. Though I did just recently watch Ryan Gosling's most recent film, Fall Guy, and I was very underwhelmed. So
I won't get into my thoughts about
Fall Guy or Ryan Gosling.
The Ryan Gosling and Blake Lively on the podcast.
Not Reynolds.
Reynolds, yeah, sorry.
Sorry,
Gosling.
I'm talking about Gosling, not Reynolds.
I forgot he was in Free Guy. Look.
No. So there's Free Guy and there's Fall Guy.
Oh my gosh.
I can see where you get confused there. I can totally see where you get
I hate it here.
Totally separate.
I hate it here.
Anyways, back on topic.
Yes.
Star Wars.
Ahsoka season 2 has been confirmed. We did get our first look at Rory McCann as Baylan Skoll.
They've got a. I did not hear about this.
Oh, shoot.
This
Sorry.
is news to me.
So they have recast Baylan Skoll. He will be played by Rory McCann.
Okay, let's see it.
He is probably most famously known as playing the Hound in Game of Thrones.
Okay, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Well, he's good.
Let me see the picture. I mean, it's a guy in a beard, so...
Look at you.
She gestured to me for the viewers.
I did. Honestly, like, from a distance, if I had to... I can see some similarities. It's not going to be the exact... The thing that I'm going to be intrigued is the bulk that he's going to have to put on.
Yep.
Because he's kind of skinny, and maybe it was just the armor, but he was kind of skinny in Game of Thrones. And more important, what's news? This is so random. They will have Lothcat kittens in Ahsoka season 2.
Cool.
Loath Kittens, and I have an image. To quote Dave Filoni, I have to pay for the show somehow.
That's cute. That's great. So in our kind of long dormant but never fully gone game of which Transformer has this actor played before, Rory McCann in Transformers Earthspark is the voice of Megatron. Isn't that wild?
That is wild, because I've seen a lot of clips from that show, and I've never made the connection.
There you go. That's fun. I'm trying to see if I've ever seen him. I don't think I've literally ever seen a thing. He's in Hot Fuzz. That's fun.
Hot fudge.
But that's back in 2007. I've not seen him in anything in the last 2 decades. I'm like aware of these things, but I've just never seen them. He was in the Knuckles TV show.
I'm not gonna lie. If I had Paramount, I would watch that.
Anyways, I'm trying to figure out who he plays in Hot Fuzz. I know we're supposed to be talking about Andor season 2, but
I still have more news, Cameron.
Oh yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is I'm
much
delaying us from getting there. I just want to see who he plays in Hot Fuzz. Oh my gosh! Wow. For anyone who knows Hot Fuzz, he is the really big guy who just says "yarp," and that's the only thing he says.
Yarp.
This is his character. It's not the most sensitive portrayal of someone with a disability and/or brain damage, but
I've never seen
it is funny, regardless of how appropriate or sensitive it might be. It's an iconic character. So,
all right, this is a bit of a bigger one because it'll give us content later in the year.
yes.
Okay, well, this could be a couple of things. So, Star Wars Visions Volume 3
Yeah.
will premiere October 29th in 2020. That's this. I'm stupid. It's going to premiere this October at the end. So that's going to be exciting. Here's the thing. Here are a couple of the companies that will be included. One's called David Production IG or LG, don't know. Kamikaze Doga and Anima. Those are clumped. There's a logo I can't read because you know what? Sometimes you don't get good quality photos. It's just a big old red Q. Project Studio, maybe. Kinema Citrus Company. Trigger, they've been involved. Podgon Pictures and Wit Studio. You're not allowed to bully me on Twitter if I got these wrong because I, contrary to popular belief, was not at Star Wars Celebration. I'm just stealing screenshots from the internet.
Well, they released this trailer.
I didn't watch the trailer.
Like they posted almost all of this on their Instagram.
I didn't watch
the only
the
thing
trailer.
that you've said so far that is a surprise to me is the recasting of Balin's skull. Everything else I saw on their Instagram.
Visions Volume 3 will include sequels to some previous
Oh,
episodes.
good. I'm excited to hear that.
There's going to be a sequel to The Duel, which was the first Visions episode, the black and white one with Ronan.
Yep.
There's going to be a sequel to The Village Bride, which is my personal favorite.
Well, that one, wait, never mind. Which one is getting turned into its own series?
The Ninth Jedi.
Okay, yes.
The Ninth Jedi, yeah, that was the next thing. So those 2 episodes will get sequel episodes. The Ninth Jedi is getting a full series expansion in 2026.
Yeah.
Post Order 66, Village Bride will also be post order. Technically, they're all post Order 66 in some way or form for the most part.
Okay. So I want to talk. Sorry, I want to talk about this just real fast.
You're good.
The Ninth Jedi. I did not remember which one this one. This was the one where
This is the one where we said, "Imagine being named Ethan."
it was a bunch of Jedi meet up, and then it turns
It was a
out
trap.
Yeah, it was a trap. Yeah. So that is of all the ones to choose to expand. I think that's an interesting one. I think I'm most excited at the idea that they're following up a few of them because some of the ones from the first season especially had so much potential. I am a bit bummed they're going back to only anime because if you don't know, Star Wars Visions is always a collection of animated shorts that are their own thing. They play fast and loose with canon. They rarely use pre-existing characters. They kind of just do whatever they want. They're tonally all over the place.
It's
They're
like inspired by Star Wars.
Yes. They're very obviously Star Wars, and that's about it. The first season is good. It's all anime, and within anime, you have a great variety. You have 2D, 3D, very different styles. Still, even though there's always things that are distinctly anime, but there's also variety there, different tones. Second season is a whole mishmash of 2D, 3D, stop motion, claymation. I like season 2 a lot. Mm-hmm. So I'm a bit bummed they're going back. They're kind of going backwards to pure anime, but they kind of have me back on board with continuing some of the stories from the first season.
Yeah. Another thing, you'll be excited for this, Cameron. I took a screenshot of this. I was like, Cameron's going to love this. Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy, the sequel.
Yeah. Pieces of the Past is the subtitle to the subtitle.
Is going to premiere on September 19th, 2025 this year, starring Ashley Eckstein, Ben Schwartz, and Ahmed Best. So
Ashley Eckstein is the voice of Ahsoka.
Oh, yes, sorry.
She's the voice of Ahsoka. Mm-hmm. Ahmed Best is the voice of Jar Jar.
An actor.
Oh, yeah, he's both. Yeah,
he is Jar
person.
Jar.
Yeah, he's everything.
And Ben Schwartz is Sonic.
Yeah. And is credited, along with Bill Hader, as voice consultant for BB-8.
And you have some interesting images because...
yes, I have that in front of me, too.
I don't know what they're called. They're like the big heads or something.
So they're bringing in, classically, anytime you have a Lego animation, you have the characters are Lego minifigures. Mm-hmm. And some other things, I think of like Unikitty in the Lego movie is made up of Legos. But for the most part, most characters are actually minifigures. Mm-hmm. Here, the poster shows two different characters that are other kinds of Legos. You have Ahsoka, but she is a blocky, very it's Lego, but like
big heads.
Design
like something.
They're minimal.
Heads.
Is that what they're called?
That's what they're called, brick heads, I think.
Like they are intentionally blocking looking, as opposed to they have a Chewbacca on here who is a Chewbacca who is made out of Lego. So he's like 3 times or 4 times as tall as the minifigure. So they are bringing in other kinds of creatures, obsessed beings in different Lego styles, which is a cool expansion of this idea. If you don't remember, Rebuild the Galaxy was like a 4-part miniseries about a more comedically toned Star Wars universe where they accidentally pulled out a piece that was supposed to be the foundation of the whole universe, and it changed everything.
The cornerstone?
And so you had Jedi are Sith, and Sith are Jedi, and all the clones were clones of Admiral Akbar, and it was very reference heavy, and it was some light fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have 2 more pieces of news. The one... I'll just say this because I don't know how excited we are. I'm going to switch up my order a little bit.
Okay.
We did get a confirmed theater date for the next Star Wars movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu, May 22nd, 2026. So apparently it is going to come out the same month as the next Avengers movie.
Bad idea, man.
Yeah.
They did this once before, and it went bad for Star Wars.
We'll see
Solo.
if something gets moved.
So, for those who do not know, Solo came out the same month as Infinity War and Deadpool 2.
I saw the trailer because someone bootlegged it. Thank you, whoever.
I chose not to watch it. I was very tempted, though.
It doesn't show you much.
I see.
I'm not that impressed by it, which is probably a good thing considering it was a teaser trailer. Not a whole lot. So that's it. Sigourney Weaver's in it, though, and I do like her. I have a link to the trailer, but I'm not going to watch it again, and you're not going to watch it. But probably some news this is my last bit. Some news I'm actually quite intrigued by.
This is probably the most surprising overall bit of news.
Yeah. We are getting a new animated miniseries. They confirmed it in another post called Maul Shadow Lord in 2026. So we are going to get a Maul-centered series, which a lot of people have been asking for a long time, and it's going to be animated. But the question is when it's going to take place. I have heard... These are rumors that it's going to take place in his Crimson Dawn era.
I mean, that's the only logical explanation.
I don't think we need an immediate post-cut in half series.
I mean, my theory is it takes place before he died. And it'd be strange to make a Maul series where Maul is already dead when the show starts.
Bummer.
I think, because there's a huge gap. Like,
really, the next time in the lores, there's not a lot of Maul stuff. It's Crimson Dawn led by Kira, which is seen in Star Wars Outlaws, and then that's also who had Solo and Carbonite for a while before Jabba got him.
I did not know that.
Yeah, fun fact.
That's interesting.
There's lots of comics
Sure.
that I haven't read.
So for listeners who are not so aware with Darth Maul's timeline, chronologically, the last time we see him, as far as the Clone Wars, is him escaping custody at the end of the Clone Wars, as like right as the Clone Wars ends. The next time we see him in any sort of mainline stuff is the Han Solo movie, where we are briefly exposed to him, where he is just revealed to be the head of this cryptic criminal organization called Crimson Dawn.
Cryptic criminal.
And they set up that movie. That was a big teaser at the end of the movie that would have been presumably explored in a Solo sequel that we never got. And then from there, he shows up in Rebels as a like old man searching around in the gutter of a Sith world who, so there's big gaps there.
Weird custody battle over Ezra with Kanan,
Correct. Yes, he then becomes obsessed with taking on
a Padawan, an apprentice.
Ezra specifically as his apprentice in his hunt for Obi-Wan, and also trying to take down Palpatine. And spoilers, he does end up finding Obi-Wan, and it doesn't go well for him. And that is a incredible sequence.
Beautiful. It does not need to be recreated in live action.
Correct.
Everyone's like, needs to be created. Shut up.
So
wrong.
Maul's narrative in Rebels is incredible.
Mwah.
And so
Yes.
this show will have a hard time. And it also, like, I'm not a huge fan of Clone Wars, but like bringing Maul back as this just agent of chaos who hates everyone is a cool element of the Clone Wars cartoon. And his narrative at the end of Clone Wars in season 7 is also really good. But yeah, I think we've all for a long time have been very curious. What is Crimson Dawn? How did he start it? How did it collapse?
Because Solo
How did he get kicked out?
You get to the last minute of Solo, and you're like, "Oh, was that shocked Wojak meme?" Oh, everyone pointing. Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of. I mean, I do think it's hard. On the one hand, we spend way too much time in between 3 and 4. Star Wars is so much bigger than that. It does get a little tiresome. But on the other hand, this is a narrative we've been waiting to see for a while. I hope it being a season of a TV show, they don't drag it out too much. I think I'd rather this be a one and done. I don't think this show needs to be multiple seasons. I hope. I'm conflicted.
I feel like they're laying groundwork right now.
Yeah.
For 6 and 7 work expansion.
Sure. Between
I think
6 and 7.
Yeah, I think they're hopefully laying some groundwork between that. Granted, Resistance is one of those things between like
Sure.
8 and 9 that we haven't watched.
Yeah.
It is crazy on that 20th anniversary page. Like, honestly, the animation difference between Rebels and like Clone Wars isn't all that different when you compare it to Resistance.
Yeah, Resistance
you're
is
like,
very strange.
You're like, it's the weird cell shading that they did.
Yep.
I mean, it's a style for sure. It's just like, I went from Clone Wars straight into Rebels. I watched it all in a year, and I remember I was really jarred by the difference in animation, but then like you're like, it's not that bad.
I agree. So that is exciting. I would say personally, I'm probably most excited for Visions Volume 3, just because Visions always has the potential to create some of the best Star Wars related media
It's an
ever.
easy watch too.
I say it's best. It's one of those things. I think with time, I have myself not really revisited any of Visions. I really want to. I think with some more rewatches of Vision, some of that stuff will become some of my favorite. I just have not seen enough. But when I think about Vision as a whole, so glad it exists. Yeah. It's so good. I'm excited to see more Rebuild the Galaxy. That was a lot of fun. I think until these announcements about Ahsoka, we didn't mention, they did confirm Hayden Christensen is back for Ahsoka Season 2. It kind of felt like Ahsoka Season 2 might be on the chopping block, just because we had not heard anything, just because with the Acolyte getting canceled, like I did not feel like Ahsoka Season 2 was 100% guaranteed. This makes me feel a lot more comfortable that we're actually going to get it.
There was no Acolyte Season 2 news, but they are getting 3 prequel books.
So bizarre. We're going to have to give you half the season, cancel it, and then expect you to buy these books feeding into that season.
The prequel before the prequel. That's what they're saying. We talk about this enough. if you're only given a season and you're not greenlit for a second one, throw all your cards in. Make it as best as possible. Don't try to go, oh, what happens in season 2? Like, it's on. Anyways.
Speaking of season 2. Or
Oh my
season 2.
gosh.
First 3 episodes.
Wow.
They take place a year after the last season.
Yeah.
4
BBY.
Which is what it starts with.
Yeah.
Like
1 year after.
It's so bizarre for them to be using BBY, which is before the Battle of Yavin, which is the events of episode 4. It's so strange to use that canonically. Like,
That's they were like, the viewers gonna love
I
it.
guess I'm realizing there was 2 things that do not get addressed in Star Wars proper. Where their energy comes from, like how things are powered, and what they use as a measurement of time. Thankfully, this Andor answers one of those questions to some
Yeah.
degree. It actually finally addressed the concept of like an energy crisis.
Yeah,
And I'm really glad. We'll talk about that in a moment, but it is not helping.
Holy cow.
Opening with the phrase "for BBY," it is not helping with. There's literally no way they're using that time in universe.
I bet we're gonna get a year. I bet we're gonna get a year title card before every like. I bet we'll go on 4.
Yeah. Yep.
7 and 10.
No, it's counting. We're getting closer.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We're gonna get like a 4 BBY, 3 BBY,
Yeah.
2 BBY, 1
Yeah.
1 BBY.
Yeah. So excited for that. Just for the future of this show. But what we already have is 3 episodes. So they're doing a lot of intercutting
cow,
between the
yeah.
narratives. And this would be difficult. I'm actually, we've complained a lot, at least I have, the last month or so about them breaking this up.
We complain a lot anyways. It doesn't
I
have
am
to be about this.
so happy they released these 3 episodes together.
Yeah.
It is definitely one narrative. Like, it's actually kind of hard to. So, we're going to talk about these as plot threads rather than episodes, just because it's too hard
It's
to
all
like separate
separated.
them out. Some plot threads get very little play in some episodes, other ones get a lot. So, I think we should start with like the least relevant and then build our way up. But honestly, the least relevant might be my favorites. Deidre and Cyril in their... Okay, this actually has 2 different pieces. I guess we'll go chronologically. We'll get to the part I like. It starts with just Deidre doing very Deidre stuff
Yes.
in a meeting with Krennic.
On a planet called Gorman,
Yes.
I think.
What is his exact title again? I'm blanking. Krennic's title. Is it
Director? I don't.
Is it Director Krennic?
I don't
Krennic.
remember.
Oh, he is the guy who spearheaded the Death Star program. And that is his big role in Rogue One. Mm-hmm. He's the big villain of Rogue One.
You see him for 2 seconds in Bad Batch.
Correct. And he technically talks, but I'm pretty darn sure they just used pre-existing audio.
They did, yeah. He was supposed to show up in Rebels. I just didn't get the budget for it. I don't think.
But he is back, and he is gathered together a task force.
He doesn't look like he's aged at all.
He is a honestly very attractive man in his white outfit.
Sharp.
One of the best parts of Rebels is that it was one of the best Star Wars villains. I think he's really grown on people, especially like people liked Rogue One initially. I think as time has gone on, people have realized Krennic is a big reason Rogue One is so good.
Choose the scenery. It's so good.
And so he is. It seems though they're implying he's trying to get power for the Death Star. It doesn't straight up say that.
They're looking for radar shields. Okay,
he said that, but I assume that was for the Death Star. But what are the radar shields for? Do they say?
Oh, I thought that was for the Death Star.
That's what I thought too. Okay.
Yeah,
So yes.
it's for the Death Star.
They don't specifically say the Death Star. They talk about needing to.
It just says it's for the
Yeah.
energy shield. Something shield. And
But
it's
more
like,
broadly, he addresses to this group that he's organized that they need to address the energy crisis. That what like the scale of the Empire requires a lot of energy, which they have never talked about in Star Wars, as far as I know, at least mainline Star Wars. And so, in order to facilitate a new, more powerful energy source, they are going to mine Gorman Calcite. Gorman. Okay, so what's the name of the planet?
Gorman.
That's the name of the planet
I'm pretty
itself.
sure that's what it is. Let me hold on.
Calcite is this mineral or
I-
something
I
found within the
actually
planet.
Wrote down the stuff, or is it maybe it's Malthine Divide?
Star Wars Gorman. Gorman is the name of the planet.
Okay,
Yep.
I was right. I think maybe I just quit writing places down. I was like, yeah, we'll figure it out.
And so they want to force some very dramatic forms of mining onto this planet.
Relocation.
Well, they know that the planet's inhabitants are not going to take too kindly to this very aggressive.
What?
It sounds, they had a name for it. I don't remember the exact, they effectively said strip mining.
Yeah,
But it's also, it sounded a lot like fracking is what it sounded
Yeah.
like. Like, not the word, but like what fracking is, which is using explosives to break up the earth effectively. And they discuss, though, that the Gorman is a politically significant planet and has a lot of wealth and authority and power. So it's not like they can just move in and just do whatever they want.
One of my favorite lines from this, so this meeting's super top secret.
Mm-hmm.
He says, if your superiors aren't here, they don't know about it. My favorite thing that Krennic says is about the secrecy, and he says, no one puts this in their calendar. And I just thought that
I
was
missed that.
so funny.
That's good. That's really good.
He just says, no one puts this in their calendar. It was just so funny because it totally off track. It just makes me think that the Empire has some form of system where you can look, like an Outlook system where you look them up and
Google
go,
Calendar.
oh, they're in a meeting.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah, I think Andor, especially these last 3 episodes, have really brought in a lot of just very common language from our world and just nonchalantly threw it in.
do you think they're evil enough to use Teams?
Hold on. My work uses Teams.
My work uses Teams.
But this meeting, I mean, Krennic being very Krennic, it starts with a commercial. He shows them an ad. It's like what I realize now is it's kind of a like tourism board sort of ad. It is a 1950s style commercial. It's not a hologram.
It's almost like it's like Soviet Russian propaganda for like working.
See, I felt like it. So what it's advertising is what Gorman is most known for colloquially within this world. It felt like they're implying is their silk that comes from these spiders, and their web is woven into fabric, and that's what this planet is known for. And so that kind of introduces us to this planet, and it is like a straight up like 1950s advertisement.
Yeah,
like that, there's a narrator who's like, "Whoa there." They call the spiders this, but of course the scientists have a more complicated name for it. It's really wild.
It's really unnerving.
And it has like music, and it's like shot like a just straight up commercial. Like it is. We very really rarely see edited footage in Star Wars. It's really, really unique. And so that's that. There's kind of the 2 main big Deidre and Cyril. So there's this scene, and Krennic pretty much puts her in charge. Oh, okay. The other big sequence from this is these 2 kind of flamboyant, like, PR guys come in with a plan on how to turn public opinion against Gorman.
It feels like the speech you get when you join a pyramid scheme. I haven't ever
MLM
done that,
pitch?
but it really felt like an MLM pitch.
I real quick, while I have it, I'm going to play a little bit of audio from this ad just so you can.
I said my notes. Damn Ricola commercial. It's like a Ricola commercial, like the cough drops.
I see. So here's a good little idea for what this ad sounds like.
Whatever you call them, there's no denying their dedicated work habits.
Talking about the spiders.
Until dusk, never stopping to feed or sleep until the Gorman sun has set.
So like it's like the way that
It's so
the
wild.
video, the audio quality, the diction of the narrator, Ricola is an interesting choice.
Because they played a horn a couple times.
I see.
I feel like it's gonna tell me to buy war bonds next.
So, Deidre. Okay, if you don't remember, Deidre from season 1 is at ISB, Imperial Spy Bureau.
Yeah.
Is that what the ISB stands for?
Imperial Spy Bureau. She's girl boss.
Imperial Security Bureau, but it's full of spies.
Yeah.
And they're pretty much in charge. They're pretty much the CIA for the FBI,
Yeah.
for the Empire.
CIA for the FBI.
And she was the one who was convinced that the heist in season 1 was related to various other seemingly disconnected criminal acts.
Yeah.
She saw the bigger pattern of there was a rising, distinct rebellious act. She was right. She was 100. She fully saw what Luthen was doing.
Yeah.
Who is Bill Skarsgård, who we'll get to in a little bit, who is the big orchestrator of all this stuff. Did I say Bill?
Yeah.
Bill's his son, Stellan Skarsgård. She then pursued everything back to Ferrix. I feel like they kind of intentionally started putting their boot down on Ferrix to draw Andor out because they knew Andor was a significant figure. And Cyril is a skeevy, wormy little rat man who worked for I always loved it. At first I thought it was odd, but the more I say it, the more I love it. Ferrix was initially under the management of a subcontracted security force that was not the Empire. And they sucked at their job. And Cyril gets fired because they totally screw up their job on Ferrix. He becomes obsessed with bringing Andor back in, and that causes him to stalk Deidre and end up saving her life during the big climactic riot on Ferrix. That then leads into
important context. There's an interesting interaction between Krennic and Deidre.
Yes.
Where he's like,
Yes,
you're quiet, aren't you? And she's like, she's like listening. And he goes, he definitely, you can tell he's got a special interest in her. Not in the way Cyril has a special interest, but Krennic just is, he was like, you're here, I want your thoughts. And she's like, you need a trusted band of rebels to, that was her.
She says that propaganda will not be enough to cause public opinion to turn in favor of the Empire doing whatever they want on Gorman. She pretty much implies there needs to be an actual insurrection, which to me implies she's going to somehow attempt to manipulate our heroes into causing an insurrection. On the Empire is going to intentionally stage an actual insurrection. And my hope is it does not go as they want, that they actually the Empire underestimates our heroes.
Motivated the people.
But it's also possible they're just going to it's possible that they're going to stage one, but then they accidentally involve actual insurrectionists.
Yeah, like, hey, we heard we're all gathering here. We're going to have a fun time.
So this seems to be the actual big plot of this season, would be my guess, would be them attempting to cause an insurrection on Gorman so they can strip mine the planet for resources is going to end up being the big conflict at the heart of the season.
It goes to, I'm just going to go to the next episode because I think we've kind of covered everything with Deidre in episode
it's only like
1.
these two scenes.
There's an important quick scene, her walking with her boss, actually, who was also in attendance, and basically they're walking into work, and she stops and she just turns around, she says, I don't want the Gorman Project. And it's a conversation between her and her boss where essentially she doesn't have a choice. She's getting the Gorman Project.
She's much more interested in trying to hunt down who is Luthen. They have a name for him. I can't remember what it is.
I don't remember.
They have a code name for him. But she knows that there is someone organizing a rebellion, and she's trying to find. But she has not made any progress in the year since season 1. So her boss tells her,
"He's gone.
You need to take this job. Like this is more important than that."
And she's not getting a choice. She's in the public eye. She's getting demoted. He told her. He said, play the part. They're demoting her, quote unquote, so that it makes sense for her to leave for this new position. I did have to laugh because she's like, I don't want the Gorman Project. And it was like, when you accidentally become important at work. And so we get a quick scene of Cyril. He has moved up in his little cubicle job. He's the new onboarding guy, and he's got such a schlocky, inspirational
I forgot about this
speech
scene.
to this poor, fresh out of college intern. It's so dramatic. But anyways, to the big reveal of episode 2 for these two characters is, I think it's still it seems ambiguous, but they're
living together.
They're living together. They're roommates or married. I didn't see any rings.
Yeah, we don't know if they're married, but they're definitely in a relationship.
There appears to be one bedroom.
Yes.
And this surprised me. I can't say that I was expecting that turn to happen.
I really thought at the bare minimum there would be more back and forth. Will they, won't they? I'm shocked that they just start the season. They are in a relationship.
He walks in with groceries and I was like, Are you
It's wild. It's
kidding
so
me?
wild.
Because, but also, she like touches his face
Yes.
in a weird
Yep.
way that you don't do with your platonic friends.
Yeah.
So I did make. I do have a note. Girl boss and male wife.
And that is even more true in the third episode for sure.
Oh my gosh. So Megan, I don't know when you're going to listen to this, if you will. Megan is our friend. Surreal is her favorite. She is really intrigued by his character and potential redemption arc. I don't know how the redemption arc might work if they're playing house together. I don't know. That's basically the big reveal for them this episode. I don't really have anything else from episode 2.
Yes, that's about it. I was just quickly trying to find Axis. Axis is what she calls the figure that we know as Luthen. Anyways.
Because it all revolves around him. Ha 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 ha.
Exactly.
So we go to episode 3. They've been prepping for something. They are looking nice. They're dressed up. And you don't understand why. You're like, are they going to an event? Are they becoming Facebook official? You don't know.
There's something that they're both nervous about that they've been putting off, that they've needed to do. She's been off on work for a long time.
Because he even says, we could pretend you're not here. And I'm like, well, that's weird. There's a knock at the door. It's his mother. She has come for dinner. And this seems to be the first time she is meeting Deidre. And this is just... I'm sitting in front of my computer. I'm stunned. I watched this all in one go. I'm like, I don't know what to feel about it. And you know what? The longer it went on, the funnier it was. And the more I enjoyed it.
And I think what our listeners are not getting, in case they haven't actually watched, which we should have said at the top before spoilers, watch this. If you are interested in Star, if you like Andor season 1, watch this. It's great.
Just do it.
It's really, really good. This is shockingly the Deidre Surreal subplot as of for 3 episodes is the lighthearted, humorous subplot to the other 3 plots are dramatic and sad and harrowing and heartbreaking. And meanwhile, we have Deidre and Surreal having dinner. Their big conflict is dinner with Surreal's mom. Who's a little woman who talks like she's smoked her entire life.
She's very Italian mom energy.
Yeah, or Jewish mom,
or
one or the
like,
other,
just
depending
very
on what you're used to.
Dramatic, like mom energy, and just it was so funny. They've made dinner, and they're talking about work, and apparently
they're having fondue.
Yeah, they're having fondue, and his mom is just like basically trash talking. So I did feel bad for him.
She's awful.
She's awful. She's horrible.
Terrible mother.
You know what? I think if I was in a similar situation, I'm not talking about my real life mom. She's a queen. We love her. If I was in a similar situation with a parent like that, I would probably also play house with someone to get out of that environment. I'll be like, I'll sleep on the couch. We'll be fine. We can fake it.
And an incredible thing they do to like increase the awkwardness and tension of the dinner is they're cutting back and forth between these wide angle shots of the mom.
I noticed that too.
And it is a great choice. It's between a centered wide angle close up of the mom and Deidre, and it is fascinating.
And also, the apartment is like all white minimalism, very imperial, even to what Surreal and Deidre are wearing, except for his mom. His mom's wearing orange. She's like this orange thing. So Deidre puts the smackdown on Surreal's mom, which is actually kind of funny.
I wasn't sure how to phrase it. I said set her straight. I like how you phrased it.
She puts a little verbal smackdown on her because his mom is yapping about his uncle, and her mom just his mom.
Surreal gets really fed up and just leaves the room.
And Deidre's like, I looked up Uncle so-and-so's criminal record. I wouldn't be saying that publicly. And shocks his mom. And then it switches to a shot of Surreal lying on the bed in the most...
I was going to bring this up if you didn't. It's one of the funniest edits in Star Wars ever. It made Alice and I both laugh out loud.
I had to go back and look at it because I was like,
I'm going to bring it up.
It doesn't even look comfortable. He's like...
He's literally collapsed onto his bed out of just frustration.
And it's a round bed. So there's not like corner... And he's like on the end of it, like almost... It's so odd. If just... Watch episode 3. You'll know what we're talking about.
And again, we really must stress, we will talk about it. Meanwhile, the worst possible things are happening to other people.
This is the worst conflict for them in this arc.
It's just such a great choice,
And
honestly.
it's so funny. And
I cannot find that shot of him
It's
collapsing
kind
in
of
the other
towards
room.
the end. It was my last note. Is why is he?
Oh, do I think
laying-
I'm looking too late in the episode, I think is what it is. Yeah, here we go. This it's a little hard. Disney Plus's skimming function is not amazing.
It's not built for our podcast.
But, this further reinforces just how incredible these three performances are. All
Oh my
three of
gosh,
them
it's
are just
beautiful.
like really, really
It's
just
beautiful.
know their character. They just know exactly what they're doing.
It's just so funny.
And
Like-
I did not anticipate just straight up humor
Me either.
in Andor season
I was
2.
like, we have
Here it is.
his legs are hanging off. It's just also there are no doors in that apartment.
No, it's only like large.
It's an open concept.
Yeah, kind of.
So like that's the thing. There's only one bed,
Uh-huh. Yep, there is only one bed. You're right.
and they were roommates.
Uh-huh. And
Oh,
did Athena almost puke over there?
no, she sneezed. Bless you, Athena.
Okay, so weirdly, the next least consequential plot, but also very close to tied for first for me because it's also the next least is Andor's plot.
I know it's ironic.
We start with him. He is stealing a high
It's almost like a TIE fighter concept.
Yeah,
'cause
it's
from
a
test facility.
prototype, high, like very powerful TIE fighter. The actual first scene is him meeting with a woman who has worked for the Empire but has turned and is helping him steal the TIE fighter.
Mm-hmm.
They have an amazing conversation where she is like really intimidated. Someone apparently told her not to even look at Andor. Like she's very afraid. And I think on the one side, sometimes Luthen and his people kind of do act a little imperial because they feel like they have to keep
Oh yeah.
understandably, they have to keep information very tight, very segmented. They are intentionally scary. So she kind of sees them very similarly to her Imperial handlers as like people who should not be scared, who should not break laws. She's very apologetic. She's very sweet.
Like no eye contact.
And so Andor takes a moment to really just comfort her. And it's really a great way to start the show off. It's a moment where Andor has fully bought into this whole, because the whole conflict of the first season is he's not interested in rebellion. He's just trying to survive. And finally he gets what's the term? Radicalized in the first season. And he's fully bought in, and he explains to her
He's
why
drank the Kool-Aid. I'm kidding.
he explains to her why it's worth it, because she asks him, if I die, is it been worth it? And he's like, moments like this is why it's worth it. These moments of connection, of humans, of being alive, of acts of resistance. It's great. He then gets in the TIE fighter and continues to have no idea how to pilot it because it's a really advanced
and
concept.
I don't think it's like a normal one. It's like a normal ship at all.
Oh no, it has very like complex controls. A lot of ships we see in Star Wars are like a joystick. They have a lot of buttons and stuff, but as far as actual flight, and Andor does know how to fly, but this thing is obviously very complicated.
And I think it was supposed to go out for a test flight the next day too, so it's probably the first time it's been flown. So he you see it in the trailer. He bangs around the room quite a bit. We get some really sick looking range troopers come in
Yeah.
with the
yeah.
fur. Those figures went on pre-order today, and I ordered one. They look so cool.
Nice. So he's just like banging around on the inside of the hangar because he can't figure out how to fly straight.
Yeah.
And this is an incredible moment of obviously one of the biggest conflicts of modern movies is to make something feel real.
Yeah.
Because obviously bad visual effects in the past always felt fake, but there was always something tangible about old school effects that even if they weren't great, they always, classic Star Wars, they were real because they were miniatures or they were, they were hand drawn, but they were matte painting. Like, they did such a good job making things real. The fact that it's like interacting with its environment and crashing into things, one, it makes Andor, anytime a character is like struggling, I know the nerd bro dudes don't like their heroes struggling at all. They want them to be perfect at everything all the time, but the rest of us who actually appreciate good storytelling really appreciate when a character is flawed. So it's very endearing that Andor is just crashing around on the inside of this hangar.
And I think you see him reach for stuff too that he expects to be there, like in a normal ship.
Oh, interesting.
That's not there, and he's like,
He doesn't know what to do. He does end up figuring out how to use it, and he wipes out all these stormtroopers, which is great. The
Range
cannon. Well, there's normal stormtroopers. I think there's one range trooper. These are normal looking.
I thought they were all range troopers. My
No,
bad.
they are all normal. There's the one who shows up with the cannon.
He's the
or
coolest.
bazooka.
It's a race against the door, which ultimately shuts. But the weapons are powerful enough to cut through it. And
Well,
so-
no, you got to set this up. The way this builds this up is there's missiles and there's like a repeating blaster, and then he tries to charge up a different weapon and it fails, and he keeps pulling the trigger, and then it cuts away, and then it cuts back, and it's just left a hole in the wall where the trooper used to be,
Yeah.
and then it cuts the outside, and he just fires more of those shots, and then it's so good. It's so funny.
That came into my head when you see that, because you see it from the outside before he flies out, and I was like, "Hi, my name is Cassian Andor, and you're watching the Disney Channel," because that's that's like
Yep,
I want to
yep.
someone make an edit like that with instead of holes like the Disney ears before he flies out. That would be beautiful. So we get a chase scene because they're like, "Someone's stolen a ship," to which he
Oh, well, the first thing that happens is he launches the ship out of the hangar, but he can't fly it still. So he uses it as a sled down the mountain.
to get momentum.
This is most parallel, I'd say, to the sequence of the first season when Luthen has to fight his way through a blockade with his ship. It's just like parallel, just really good space stuff.
Yeah.
Just like, I think
Good space stuff.
in parallel with everything in Andor, it's very often low scale, like a small scale, and it makes it feel more impactful. It's one ship against a couple ships. Like, it's not a whole big battle.
Yeah.
And it's easy to follow. It's impactful. There's moments of suspense. You don't know what's going to happen. Now, you don't think Andor's going to die,
We know he can't.
but you don't know, like, at this point, things have already gone so poorly. You don't
my
know
gosh,
what's
yeah.
going to happen. And I think the rest of his arc shows a lot of the rebellion is just improvising and trying to get yourself out of your current situation.
Yeah. We do get a fast zoom.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we do. Yes.
He shoots an ice tunnel or rock tunnel. And it's very low. It's very, close stakes. He's got to get out before it actually collapses. It takes out the ships behind him. And there's a wide shot, like faraway shot, a faraway shot of like the dust. And then the ship flies out of dust. And it's a really fast zoom. And we love fast zooms on this podcast.
We love our fast zooms.
It just is a chuckle. So honestly, the next time we see Andor is episode.
So later in episode 1, he's supposed to rendezvous with someone.
Oh yes, I totally skipped over episode 2 in my mind mentally. My bad, y'all.
So he gets to this rendezvous, and there's a little gang of guys there waiting for him who are not who he's supposed to meet up with.
No,
And they take him hostage.
they are from. They are a semi-related rebellion group.
Yes.
They're called the Maya Pei group after their leader Maya Pei. I had to look her up. She is mentioned in Andor season 1 in passing. It's the episode with Saw Gerrera and Luthen when they're talking. He says her in just like passing. He's talking about all these different kind of rebels. So he says, here's the quote. Krieger's a separatist. Maya Pei's a neo-Republican. The Gorman Front. So he mentions Gorman.
Oh, yeah.
The Partisan Alliance, sectorist, human cultists, galaxy partitionist. They're lost. So this is where I think the conversation switches to we need something organized.
Yeah.
So anyways, so she has been mentioned before.
I see.
But yeah, anyways, he's supposed to meet another pilot who's supposed to take the ship for him called Porky?
It's close. I don't think it's Porky, but it is
themed.
similarly funny like that.
Pig themed.
Yeah. And what you will realize very quickly about this group is they are very disorganized. They are very, they don't look young, but they behave like they're 13.
Very immature.
And-
Not very inexperienced.
It's because their leader is not with them and is probably dead.
Yes.
We don't know that for 100% fact. They don't know that for 100% fact.
Yeah, they couldn't confirm
And
it.
so this whole sequence, or like the rest of this plot with Andor until he ends up meeting with other people, is they're unpredictable because they don't have a leader. They don't know what they're doing.
And they're stranded there.
Yes, that's right.
So they have ran because you see Cassian's old ship in the bushes, and they've ransacked it. He's only been gone for 3 days.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Something that happens later.
Oh yeah,
I did not realize it's his ship.
That was the ship that they took from Ferrix.
I see.
So
I see. That
it's
makes
trash.
sense.
He even asked, "What happened to my ship?" They've only been there 3 days, and they've pretty much already fallen into civil war between themselves. So they're like they.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
They capture him because they're like, he's an Imperial pilot. And he's like, no, I'm trying to meet this person. Like, your other pilot wasn't very friendly. So it's implied they killed him.
And he's dressed.
As
He
a-
shows up in a TIE fighter and he's in an Imperial
the helmet.
pilot. So, like, it's hard to take someone's. In this world, it's hard. In the world that they live in, it's hard to take someone's word for it when all the evidence suggests otherwise.
Yeah.
It's hard to know.
It's like when you go out to your car in a parking lot and there's a door ding, a new door ding, in the same color as the car parked next to you. The evidence is there. So
They pretty much are split between having him ferry all of them off in the TIE fighter to another world and trust him, or kill him, or there's kind of a third in between, which is have them train one of them how to fly the ship. But honestly, in order to do that, he would still have to fly the ship at some point. And some of them don't trust him enough to let him fly the ship at all.
Yeah.
So he's just pretty much totally unable.
Prisoner.
He's pretty much, what he's kind of contributing is to just survival. He keeps making
Dissent.
small suggestions like, hey, you
Dissent.
guys should make a barrier. Hey, you guys should set up a tarp and gather rainwater. He's just like the only one who knows what to do. He's pretty cool. And it's probably the best part of this whole thing as far as him as a character is he's pretty unflappable at this point. He's just kind of just like waiting and biding his time.
Yeah.
They keep making references to creatures out in the
woods.
which is they do a really excellent job of setting that up, reminding you about it, and then paying it off later. At some point, they start shooting at each other, this group, and it causes a split. Part of the crew go to the TIE fighter. Another crew go into Andor's ship. They have Andor. The other one, they grab him.
They're running out of food. There's not viable food. So that's adding to it. You know, you put a bunch of people together and, you put a bunch of people together and they don't have food. It falls apart.
And pretty much it just culminates in they start another fight. And I guess one part I want to note, just because it's funny, is the crew that's stuck at the TIE fighter, they decide to try to physically rotate the ship so they can open fire on the other group. And they're literally moving at like 5 centimeters an hour.
Yeah,
and it's hilarious.
It's rough. So things dissolve. Cassian, that's his ship.
Yeah.
So he knows hidden compartments.
Yes.
So
They leave one guy to watch him.
the two groups are trying to figure out who's right by basically playing
That's
like
right.
a 5-person
Oh my
game
gosh.
of rock, paper, scissors.
The great thing about this sequence is that anytime you do not know if someone's going to actually die or they're going to be children, it goes well. And this is the moment where they say something about a challenge for complete submission. They're going to do some sort of something to decide who takes the lead of the group. They break into it aggressively, but it is ultimately most equivalent to rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
And it is, I lost it. It's so funny.
It's funny. And so they're also like making a lot of noises when it happens and there's thunder going on.
Yeah.
So when there's noise, Andor is kind of doing what he can to break free under the cover of the silence. He manages to get a
So
blaster.
cold.
He frees himself and he tells the other guy, like, stay here or I'll kill you.
But
guy
he shoots him.
Oh, does he?
I think it doesn't necessarily kill him, but he shoots him in timing with the lightning to cover up the
you're
blaster
right.
fire. It's very cool.
It's so good. So he manages to kind of sneak out, and I think they kind of notice him, right?
Well,
No.
the guy that he left, the guy that was watching him, he tied him up, and then
Yeah.
while Andor's escaping, he escapes and starts yelling.
But they've also been leading up. They're like, do you hear that? Oh, it's the storm. And there's a moment where he's like, the pilot's escaping and they turn to action. And this beast, this actually kind of scared me.
It's a good jump scare.
This beast comes out, gets one, if not two of them in its mouth. It's like a giant warthog hippo looking thing. Chaos descends. Andor gets to the TIE fighter, immediately kills some guy who was left guarding it, hops in,
Yeah,
leaves.
that's probably I think one of the key defining moments of Andor as a character in Rogue One is the first scene with him where he's about to get found out by some Imperials. He's with a guy with a broken arm and he just shoots him.
Yeah.
I love them kind of planting the seeds for that within his character. And here he's running up to his own ship and he just doesn't hesitate.
Domes him.
I won't hesitate.
I won't.
Classic reference for Rebels and Robots.
So he skedaddles on out of there. He leaves them. We don't see them for the rest of this arc. I don't know if we'll see them again.
Probably
There's
not.
probably a good chance. Honestly, probably what this is doing is that this is just more fuel to the fire that I almost said unionized, a unified rebellion effort is necessary against the Empire. It can't be little guerrilla groups. Can't be little guerrero groups. Ha ha.
Yeah, I mean, it just really shows the need for leadership.
Yeah.
That like, this is what the rebellion is working with.
Yeah.
Though it could be, this could be the guys that Deidre hires to do the insurgency on Gorman. Like,
They're
we have no idea.
Pretty bad at what they do.
I think that's probably the biggest challenge overall in assessing these first 3 episodes is when the first time I watched Andor, the first 3 episodes were definitely my least favorite. But in rewatching it, those first 3 episodes are really great because they're setting up the last 3 episodes. So it's really hard to know what in this is really important for the rest of the season and what is just kind of, one-off narratives.
Yeah.
These guys could be really important. They couldn't be, so it's hard to know.
Who knows? They're cannon fodder, if anything.
Yeah.
So he makes it to space and he contacts Luthen's psychic. She has a name. I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Contacts
is it
her.
Lita?
No, that's Mothma's daughter.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's see here. It's not Senta. Is it Clea?
No. Maybe.
Let's see. Let's see here. Star Wars
ladies. Don't Google that on my
Clea
Wi-Fi.
Yes, Clea.
Okay.
Clea,
So
K-L-E.
Clea
Y-A.
was at the Mothma wedding, which we will get to, but she left.
Well, I gotta say, this is a fun character. She is
Oh,
all
she's cool.
business,
Yeah.
very hyper focused. She is Luthen's like kind of communication assistant. It's just a good performance. She's
Yeah.
just like got a lot of personality, but very subtly.
So
And I just love her.
I think this is context because it's important just to have, because it'll also be important to one of the other plots as well. I'll say district. Certain parts of the galaxy are currently under like communication. They've disabled the comm links, the communication systems, which we'll get into a little bit later. That's why she is not at the wedding currently, because she can't communicate out. So talking with Andor, she's trying to communicate that they don't really have a whole lot of conversation before Cassian ends the conversation and he's going to go find his people.
Yeah, so that will interact with the most important storyline, I would say. So we'll come back to where Andor goes
We'll
after
circle
this. The next narrative, which kind of sits in the middle between being fun and heartbreaking, is Mon Mothma's daughter being married, which was set up at the last season. This to me is, I mean, I know this is where people are divided. We know our friend Caleb is really turned off by Mon Mothma's narrative, mainly because it does not fully conclude in season 1. It is obviously theoretically the least relevant, but is, I think, the boldest choice as far as including it at all, and I love it. One, and Allison remarked this, the actress who plays Mon Mothma,
Genevieve O'Reilly.
Her performance is just so incredible.
Oh,
she just is fully in character.
amazing.
Like, there was never a moment where like you can see a performance. She's just the character.
She's just Mon Mothma.
Yeah, and she's incredible. And this is I guess it just I think what's great about it, in my opinion, is this is very much what the Star Wars prequels wanted to do, but never successfully, is what is the political side, the actual politics, and what does that look like?
And the lushness of like these senators, and honestly just the Chandrillans, which is their like culture. One thing I wanted to cut off, the first time we're introduced to Mon Mothma in episode 1, and it has her walking around the dock. Did you notice that's all one shot until she meets Luthen? Oh, it's so good.
It's really good.
She's walking outside and like they're in a very large very rich area. I don't know if it's like a clan home or something. That's kind of what it's implied. Lots of people there. Everyone's super fancy. There is a governor who's there who I think was in season 1, but someone they're trying to avoid because things were funky with her financials.
Yes.
The guy who's helping her out financially is also there. Luthen is there. Obviously.
So this one, I just wanted to recap what got us here from season 1 real quick. Is Mothma, among many things, is very much in charge of both acquiring funds and moving funds around for Luthen's various rebel cells. You know, it's not just enough to have money. You have to know how to hide it from the Empire. The Empire starts looking much more closely at the senators' financials, so they have to find a way to even more deeply launder their money in season 1, and it results in pretty much she makes I'm gonna get some names here real
Betrothal.
quick. Well, okay, so through a man named Tay, his name is, so these are all people from her home planet. Tay is an old friend who is, a banker, I think, and he connects them. And I'm actually not gonna be able to find this character's name. There's another guy who's a little more of a shadier banker.
Who's willing to provide the funds in exchange.
Well, I don't know if it's providing funds. It's they can launder the money through like a foundation.
Something like that.
So Tay sets up Mon with this other guy. I'm gonna see if I can find his name, because this shady banker,
In exchange for working together.
Yeah, pretty much his only price for helping her out is to introduce his son
kids
to Mon Mothma's daughter. And while it is in no way guaranteeing a marriage, like he's not asking Mon Mothma to promise her daughter's hand in marriage. The issue for Mon Mothma is her daughter, in an act of rebellion towards her, is actually much more traditional than Mon is.
The thing about Chandrilan tradition is that they have like child marriages, essentially, like teen marriages.
And the implication is kind of that like Chandril has kind of gone away from a lot of their traditions, and this younger generation is actually much more into the traditions. And the parallel is they're very conservative is kind of the parallel.
Traditions.
And so what for Mon is most difficult about introducing her daughter to this man's son is she thinks that she actually will go through with the marriage.
And her own marriage has a lot of cracks in it.
Correct. Yes, Mon herself is in a marriage of convenience, of business, and there is no love in there whatsoever.
With Perrin.
So the Davo Skolden is the father, who's also the shady banker guy.
Yeah. So they're going to be celebrating a 3-day wedding, essentially, with marriage on the 3rd day. But this first scene where she's walking around, it's one shot. It's beautiful. It's one shot until she meets Luthen.
It's pretty much the one shot is pretty much used to really. Mon Mothma is at the heart of everything that's going on. On the one hand, she's dealing with her daughter's marriage that she does not want her daughter to have. On the other hand, she's dealing with the incredible stress of funding a rebellion.
Yeah.
And this one shot really helps. She's talking to a lot of people as she's walking around.
Luthen in his Mrs. Doubtfire cosplay just cracks me up every time. I aspire to be like the quirky family friend that just kind of shows up to the events like Luthen does, where he talks to everyone and everyone talks to him, but you don't exactly know what he does for work. I want to have that aura of mystery showing up to like my friends' kids' weddings. They'd be like, what does she do again? You don't know?
Love it.
You could Google me, it'll show me. But so basically the 3 days just kind of go through the wedding prep. There's a lot of political play. There's a couple of different plots. So Mon Mothma's cousin, Vel, from the first season, who is in it's complicated relationship with Cinta, also from season 1, is there. Sans Cinta. There's a conversation between them where things obviously aren't going well.
And she's not seen Cinta since last season. So we don't know what Cinta's doing.
There's a lot of celebration, lots of just luxury, lots of like playing nice with people. There's a lot of conversations with Mothma and Tay.
Yeah, that's kind of the big actual plot here.
Yes.
Apart from the emotional toll on Mon that this wedding is having, the actual narrative, like the plot, is that Tay has a problem that affects Mon very heavily.
Side note, Chandrillan language sounds like Simlish. Like, have you ever played The Sims?
Oh, yes,
That
yes, yes. I
sounds
see
like
what you're
that.
saying. Yes.
So a couple days, it's like through the first night, Mothma leaves, and the next day, she and Perrin, her husband, are talking, and Perrin says he refers to Tay as Mothma's boyfriend, and she's like, "We've been over this before." So obviously, there have been conversations in the past of affairs or like implied interest in other people. And so there's kind of like a, she goes, "Of course not. What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Oh, he got really drunk last night. He had to be carried home. His wife has left him. They're living separately." Excuse me.
He talks about having had business problems, some investments go bad recently
yeah.
that are a result of rebel activity causing those investments to go
Yes.
bad.
So things are tense. There's also some tension between Lita and her husband to be, because she runs off crying from an event at some point. Mothma goes to comfort her, and she's like, "He's a child. He won't even hold my hand." Devastating.
It's wild. Within minutes, Mon goes from potentially being blackmailed by one of her closest allies,
Yeah.
to having to deal with her 15-year-old daughter who's engaged and her fiance won't hold her hand.
Yeah.
It's I love I think the show balances it incredibly well.
El fiance. So that's really just kind of the main plot until it gets to, and if I skip anything, that's not the point or not the goal. The third day, which is it all, or no, they're at a dinner the second night. And Perrin is making a speech about his daughter, blah, blah. Honestly, it was kind of a nice speech, I think. Where he's like, things are going to happen. This universe, this galaxy sucks. Try to find comfort in each other and the memories. So I was like, that was kind of like a nice speech.
Yeah, but on the other hand, I mean, this is a good time to talk about it. What is really incredible about this whole wedding plot or narrative is it's all very beautiful. Lots of, it's very elegant, but like at the core of it, it's two 15-year-olds getting married.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, I know. What I'm saying,
we're not
that is,
condoning child marriage.
like,
on this.
they put a lot of work into the sets and the costume. Like, they
gosh,
have
I
made
know.
it is like it looks fun. Like, people are dancing, people are like happy, but like, what is actually happening here? We are marrying two 15-year-olds.
I have to keep reminding myself of that, like, because you're like, wow, this is so beautiful. This is two 15-year-olds
And
getting married.
Mon's husband's speech means nothing because he himself
they
is
don't
not
love
really
each other,
married.
yeah.
Like, not actually
They're
truly
legally
married. So
It's
all ridiculous. It's all like heartbreaking because like, what are these people doing? What is the point of any of this?
yeah. They get to a point after the dinner where Mothma is talking with, is it Kay or Tay? It's Tay.
Yes.
And this is where this totally blindsides her, that Tay is basically like, I love you. He doesn't say that, but basically he's saying he's willing to do all this stuff because of how fond he is of her. And apparently he's been like that it's always been like that. And she's like, oh my gosh, I wish you had told me sooner. This is totally not the case. And he's kind of getting into the line of, I've done a lot for you. I have put so much on the line for you. And it just kind of like, it doesn't really resolve. She's kind of like, I wish you had told me sooner, ha ha ha, through like clenched teeth, and it doesn't resolve that night. So that's adding to her, because now it's like, oh, is he gonna, I don't know, is he gonna betray her in some way? Is he gonna start asking for other things? I don't know.
Well, pretty much what I don't love about this plot thread is they kind of have the same conversation like 3 times, where he's just pretty much straight up saying he's having financial issues and also marital issues. And then he keeps talking vaguely about having to go to, I'm going to have to bring up the name again, Davo, the father of the bride, the groom to be,
The bridegroom.
who is also he's the shady banker, going to him for help. And in all the very vague speak, it's unclear why exactly that's a problem.
Yeah.
Is it a problem I mean, it seems to be that theoretically the question is, how much does Davo already know about what Mon is doing? I guess the question is, in doing business with Davo, is it possible, like, why is he a problem? I mean, ultimately the whole narrative here is that Tay becomes a problem for Mon. Why is she a problem? Is it simply that if they don't help him, they're burning that bridge and therefore he becomes a liability because he knows everything? Or is it that if he goes to other people for help, he might be forced to tell them XYZ? Regardless, ultimately, they keep saying that they're going to have a conversation the next week on Coruscant.
They're going to have a meeting. They're going to figure out a number. That's what Luthen wants.
Yes.
Luthen wants numbers.
So yeah, pretty much what it comes down to is Davo wants money from Mon Mothma because he says, I'm feeling underappreciated for everything I've done for you.
Tay.
Yes, sorry, Tay says this. And Mon kind of keeps pushing it off because she has to deal with the wedding. But then ultimately Luthen's like, I know something's going on. You got to tell me. And they both kind of have this understanding that, like, we know how much he's going to ask for and we can't afford that.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to what that leads to in a moment. On the wedding side of things, the big kind of emotional climax there is right before, like, the official wedding ceremony starts. She straight up tells her to her. I think this is honestly, in my opinion, incredible mom move.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is she tells her, do not worry about the money. Do not worry about embarrassment. Do not worry about anything.
If you don't
want this, we can call it off right now.
Yeah.
And then that will be the better decision than going through with it if you don't want to. And she started that conversation with saying, on the day of my wedding, my mom was drunk. So at the end of the conversation, Mon's daughter says, I wish you were drunk.
Like, whoa.
Whoa. Like, so cold. And that you can see.
Their relationship's gone.
The performance on Mon, these are the moments that really highlighted that she does not have to burst into tears. She doesn't have to do a lot to show that the character's devastated. She switches. Honestly, she switches off emotionally, and you know that's killed her. It's very sad.
It's so sad.
It's like,
which is probably going to explain, in future revisions. Oh, where's her family? Well, I probably talked to her.
Because this is an incredible example. Like, the show, I mean, season 1 is, and I'm sure this will bleed over into season 2, but season 1 is very much about what is the cost of forming a rebellion, both literally, but also physically and also emotionally, the things you have to sacrifice in order to accomplish these things. For Mon, she has a tremendous amount of compassion for the whole galaxy. She is one of the most important people in the galaxy as far as leading this rebellion. She will become one of the most important people in the galaxy as far as leading the new Republic. But within her own home, she loves her daughter, yet she is continually further separated from her daughter. And her daughter cannot be more different than her.
I think it's implied that her daughter is going to live on Chandrilla at this point, probably with her husband. So there's a physical gap. So I'm guessing something's going to happen to her husband in her marriage, probably a little more significantly.
Sure.
But so it's honestly a gut punch because it's a good mom move, and honestly, I think it's valid. I mean, she's acting out on her own personal experience, but also her daughter had a bit of a meltdown 2 days before the wedding. I think it's valid to be like, if you don't want to do this, you don't have to. We can call it off.
Yep.
So they do the wedding ceremony, which is super weird.
Yes.
It's so cult.
Yes.
It's so culty. The parents are walking.
It's a lot of like reciting memorized phrases, and
it's weird. So
there's clearly not a lot of passion in it, or at all any
it's all
passion.
Tradition. So the wedding gets done. They go to like a reception. Luthen's gift to the parents, and also it's important to know that Davo, the groom's father, probably has no idea that Luthen's connection as a collector is actually the person he's secretly funding through 3 other people. So he presents this 25,000-year-old statue that had been stolen from the Chandrilla temples by Rakatans, which is an interesting lore poll. Not a whole lot of information. They're just like, there's a lot of information like in Star Wars: The Old Republic. I recognize the name, and they have their reception, and they do another creepy, weird kind of cult dance between the bride and the groom, very rehearsed, and then it goes straight into a party. And here's the thing. We get a Niamos remix, which is the song that plays.
Is that really what it is?
It
Oh,
is.
that's
I was so
wild.
excited when I heard
didn't
it.
catch that.
It's a remix of the club song that's playing in the club in the first episode. It's honestly, it's a bop. It's one of my favorite like in-universe tracks. All I have to say
Is
is
playing on a robot that is displaying waveform like
and they're dancing like
meters.
it's like a normal reception, honestly. And honestly, what it is, Tay leaves. He and Mon Mothma have another kind of weird conversation. We will have a conversation later. Let's get through the wedding. Tay leaves. His driver is Cinta.
Yes, I love this reveal. Yes.
And so Vel sees, and they make eye contact, and it's icy. Cinta says nothing, no reaction, gets in and drives Tay off. So Vel's going through it.
Well, why the fact that is Cinta, is that her name?
Yeah.
Is the driver is pretty much Luthen has been pretty heavily implying that he's been like given death stare to Tay throughout
Honestly,
multiple episodes.
I'm almost kind of like, are they gonna like crash the vehicle?
Pretty much at
and
this
kill
point
him?
it is kind of a question of not how, but not a question of if, but when Luthen is just going to take out Tay.
Yeah.
And it's up to, you're not really sure what he's going to do, but the fact that
Something.
one of his agents is Tay's driver is like, oh crap.
Yeah,
he's been planning for this. He had a plan in case Tay turned on them. Like he's obviously been spying on Tay.
The rest of the wedding is we'll talk about this probably as we get to the most probably important plot. The rest of the shots of the wedding is Mon Mothma drinking and basically essentially loosening up through the reception until she's dancing wildly at the end. Right?
Yes. Sorry. I've been trying to find this clip. There's to
the point that even her husband sees her across the room and he's kind of like, whoa.
Yeah. And it's in the trailers, it seems like this dance sequence is going to be like a really fun, almost like musical number.
No.
And this is a heartbreaking, because it's one harkens back to her saying that her mother was drunk at her wedding. It's,
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. And I actually saw a really interesting quote from the creator that pretty much it confirms that what's going on in her head is that she knows she just sent a man to be assassinated. So it confirms, because what I said to Allison when we were done is we might not know what happened to Tay because we know the next episode is going to be a year down the road. So it's possible they never explicitly tell us what happened with Tay.
They might never have a meeting.
Yeah.
It might happen that fast. When Cinta got into the car, my thought is, I don't even know if he's going to make it back. Who knows if she just drives off, kills him, and dumps him somewhere.
There's no telling.
JFK.
But the strong implication is that Cinta is going to do something.
Yeah.
Or at least going to take him somewhere where something bad happens to him.
Yeah.
So when you said, I'm a little late on this, but are you aware of the meme of the movie Megalopolis with Adam Driver, aka Kylo Ren? This great line delivery that relates to you talking about the club music.
I work without caring what happens to either of us. So go back to the club.
Now go back to the club.
What do you mean? Kylo Ren said that.
Yeah.
They said that in episode 8, right?
Cue what was the name of the song?
Niamos. It's a remix.
Cue Niamos. Go back to the club.
With that said, if I get married, Niamos will be on the playlist, so prepare yourself.
And that's the end of the Mon Mothma narrative for these 3 episodes.
Ugh.
Heartbreaking. That final, just her dancing.
She's lost it.
It's beautifully shot. It's just an incredible contrast between what you see is happening and what you know is happening deep under. And also just Luthen, cold-hearted.
Creeping around the edges of the party is my favorite thing.
One of my favorite moments of Luthen is he's talking to this guy who's talking about something about like he's like in the military or something.
Oh my gosh, this was my favorite part.
And he's like getting moved around or something. Like the military is
it's
like
the Imperial Navy.
Yes. And Luthen just turns and goes, well, why? Where you going? Like,
Why is everyone getting booed?
he's playing it as if he's a moron who's just curious, but obviously he's digging for
Where's
information.
everyone
Like,
getting sent to? I'll bet they're getting sent to Gorman.
like, it's such an interesting play for Luthen that he needs to be able to dig for information in social settings, but he has to make it look like he's not digging for information, so that it's the character he's chosen to play is an absolute buffoon that no one would ever think is actually digging for information.
I love it.
It's an incredible performance choice. How wide-eyed he goes, it's like, it's actually very sinister, but it's supposed to come across as like just lighthearted and fun and like inquisitive.
He's just like, really?
It's so good. It's such a small moment. I am so psyched to get more Luthen. He's got to be the best character, right?
Beautiful man.
He's so good. Like in a show of incredible characters. Like seriously, every
There's no bad
performance.
actor.
I think in season 1, my weak link is Bix. But I think she has really redeemed herself in season 2. I think they've just given her more to do.
Yeah, I was like, she didn't have a whole lot to do.
Yeah,
outside of kind of be snarky to Cassie.
Yeah, I think they've really be
tortured.
And we will get there. That's the most controversial element of this. These first 3 episodes is what happens with Bix. So let's get to it. So the least consequential, I'd say, to the plot, but honestly, like what is clearly intended to be like the heart of the show is the little man being most dramatically affected by the Empire. That's actually the only time we're seeing someone negatively affected by the actions of the Empire is. So who do we got? We got Bix, which is Bix is
his
Andor's sorta kind of girlfriend.
Yeah.
Brasso, who was just a friend of both Andor and his mother.
He bricked an
Yep,
Imperial
Brickman,
with
classic
Marva's
Brickman.
brick, and his son, who is
Oh, that's his son.
yeah, that's his son.
I
I'm
did
pretty
not
sure.
realize that.
His son threw, I will say first punch, threw a bomb into the Imperials in Ferrix, so that kind of really set off.
Wilman is the character
Yeah.
name, and then you also have Brasso's wife Talia.
Which
They seem to be together.
I don't know.
Maybe I
Maybe they
misread
met
that.
later. I think
Oh,
it
was she? Oh, you asking if she's in season 1?
Yeah, no, she's not in season 1. I think it was
Okay.
implied that this place they're at, which I think is called Mina Rao, is where they met.
So it's a
think that's
new
yeah.
love interest for
A
him. That's
new
cool.
girly.
Well, I'm happy for Brasso.
And I'll get
to an extent. We'll get to there.
I'll get to that later. Why I think they met
Okay.
at a separate point. But so they're basically just kind of being mechanic farmers.
They are undocumented workers.
Yes.
Who they've escaped. They escaped from Ferrix at the end of last season, and they are now
Mm-hmm.
illegally working on another planet on a very like remote, very sparsely populated, it's like in grain fields.
Our first kind of introduction is Bix is having a nightmare, but it's not played as a nightmare at 1st.
Mm-hmm.
The like doctor / torturer from the first season is in their like home and like grabs her ankle, which is horrifically creepy.
Yep.
And then she wakes up screaming, and nightmares are a common occurrence, which honestly valid. She was horrifically tortured psychologically. So it's kind of the first introduction. I don't know if you noticed, they have a picture of Marva in their home.
Yep, which is Andor's adopted mother.
Andor's mom. So
who died in the last season.
I don't have a lot of notes from the first episode.
I mean,
for them.
It's ultimately just them having to lie low. They're establishing that they are pretty much living off of the help of some locals who are helping keep them hidden.
Is this where they do the first pass? So the first audit.
So
or is
the
that
Empire,
season 2?
I mean, it doesn't really matter what episode.
I guess you're right.
The Empire shows up doing an audit of the planet, pretty much just checking to make sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing, following the law. They're pretty much there to round up undocumented workers, and also I feel like in general, the threat of such things is meant to be enough to keep people doing what's legal.
Yeah.
But also, as we learn, these are, as always, these kind of guys are always corrupt. They really just use these audits as a way to get what they want personally.
So they're running around, they're asking about stuff. The big thing is that Bix is by herself and an Imperial officer shows up and he starts asking a lot of invasive questions. He starts asking about her, what she does, and about her husband.
Yeah. Well, she says,
says
I have a husband. Like,
He's
she
like-
pretty much, he invites her to go to the city with him.
yeah.
And she says, my husband wouldn't like that. He's like, oh, he starts asking. He obviously doesn't believe her.
No.
And she is lying.
She said he's off planet for a while, and he's like, don't you think she's worried? Or he's worried about you? And she was like, no. And he reveals that basically when he's like, oh, well, the communications are down. basically revealing that when they do
yeah.
an audit, they shut down communication. So
They
that
block
no
all
one
communication
can-
in and out of the planet.
which is why, which also impacted Chandrilla, which is why.
Did it really?
Yes, she was like,
I didn't
there's
catch that.
She's like, we can't call. Well, also
No,
there was.
I don't think it did. It was.
I thought it was both because it was so monitored.
It's possible. I don't think it affected Chandrilla. I think what it was is that because they were at a wedding, there was what Luthen's assistant said was something along the lines of like there was just so many ships around, and they didn't have the proper equipment. They could not do a like encoded communication.
Yeah.
So pretty much during all of this, pretty much all parties, well, the heroes, obviously not Cyril and Deidre, but Mon Mothma, Bix, Brasso, Luthen, they all are waiting to hear from Andor.
Yeah, because they're like, "Where's the ship?"
Yeah,
and Andor's
and-
been held prisoner in the
Yes.
middle of nowhere. So he's asking a lot of uncomfortable questions. Ladies, if some guy comes to your home and starts asking you a lot of questions about your husband,
Yeah.
stay strapped.
So Brasso thankfully shows up before it escalates
Yes.
into anything, which is like it's an incredible release of tension in
Yeah.
that moment of like you do not know what's about to happen, and then Brasso showing up, this guy's not going to be able to mess with Brasso.
Yeah.
But eventually they're trying to figure out how to like move, like kind of outrun, because they know that if the Empire catches them trying to escape, they'll just be dead right
Yeah.
there. So they need to make it look like they're not running away and just kind of work away from the investigation.
There's also this kind of side plot with Willman, who's kind of like, there's this younger girl who's not younger, like young girl who's kind of interested in him, kind of like they're flirting with each other. And so season 2, there's actually, that's just kind of the main thing. You've seen them getting together with the community. There's a cute scene of B2 emo playing with kids.
Yep.
It's just really cute. I really don't have a whole lot of notes for this just because it really ramps up.
It ramps up to pretty much the Empire shows up earlier than they expected.
They've been sold out.
Yes, we learned that the guy who was protecting them actually sold them out, probably just to protect himself.
Yeah.
So the characters all get separated. You have to remind me of the son's name. Willman was with the girl, so he's isolated. Brasso had gone out to find Willman. He gets caught by the Empire, and then Bix is back at their little home, and that is when the same Imperial officer comes looking for her, and
this is like the most tense part of the 3 episodes because he attempts to rape her.
Yes, so this is the hugely controversial sequence of this. We never see any nudity. We don't actually ever get as far as
it's fighting though.
Yeah, she pretty much tells him no right off the bat. There's no.
I think isn't he saying, "I know you're illegal. If you sleep with me, then I might let it pass."
So what is the incredible bit of like this is good writing for a villain to help further kind of explain, one, why the Empire is evil, but two, why a rebellion needs to happen, is he's pretty much says, on the one hand, the Empire has their laws, but on the other hand, this planet and also the Empire needs them to be able to do their job, and they need undocumented workers to do it. So that leaves me in the middle, having to make the decisions of pretty much who's allowed to break the law and who's not allowed to, so that these things can happen. So he's pretty much implying, I am the one who can let you guys keep doing what you're doing if you do what I want you to do.
Yeah.
And he makes very creepy direct references to like, he's like, my back gets so sore, and it's
your hands are so strong. Ew.
It's horrible. It's
awful.
Absolutely horrible.
Actually, the sleaziest person in the galaxy.
This is definitely one of the more evil characters they've done. He does not take no for an answer, and she fights back and then erupts into a fight, but he continues to try to like drag her into the bedroom, which is probably the like almost like the worst moment that we get the closest to it.
I was sick.
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrendous. And she thankfully gets a really good hit on him with a hammer. And he, in a weird moment of levity, he stumbles outside and falls and hits his head on a box, which is like in this one of the darkest moments in the Star Wars movie is also hysterical. Just like the way the pratfall this actor does. Also, I have a lot of sympathy for actors who have to play these parts. Like,
Gosh,
to
yeah,
be
it's
able
all,
to
like-
do this part well, he kills it. He's incredible. Like, it's and
Yeah.
like I said earlier, I felt like the actress who plays Bix, her name
Mm-hmm.
is Adriana Arjona, sells
Just-
this character really
Oh
well.
wow. And there's a guy on a there's another Imperial on a transport just waiting outside. He is hearing the screaming and he's just watching. And he's like, huh. Like, he's just kind of looking, and then he sees the officer get up and fall and not get up. And so he calls in for backup, and he starts approaching the
shack that they live
the
in.
shack, and he's like, come on, with your hands up. And she's like, he tried to rape me. That she says that.
That's probably, I feel, the moment that has sparked the most controversy. Obviously,
I haven't seen it. I also haven't been on the internet really today.
obviously,
for
the
Star
whole
Wars
sequence
stuff.
is sparking a lot of controversy. And should Star Wars have anything even approaching this? I don't really think it's part of our podcast to discuss that. I think more just discuss it as it is, as a piece of character work, as a piece of tension, as ultimately the big point of Andor, which is to fully explain in universe why people are making a rebellion, and more subtextually what makes such governments evil and why you shouldn't put up with it in real life. And in that case, I think it is very much in line with that objective.
I just saw a funny comment because I haven't been on it.
Yeah.
Someone it's in a tweet directly related to this moment.
Yeah.
And people are like, it doesn't belong in Star Wars, and someone was like, it would obviously be in Star Wars, and someone it's just comment, Vader, famous respecter of women.
Yeah, there was there was a bizarre comment I actually said that said Vader would not put up with this and the Empire does not condone it. Are there Empire apologists on the what?
Yeah.
I think to some degree
There's got to be someone out there who's been like, the Empire was right.
I could on one hand see, and obviously I'm arguing with someone I don't even know who it is or if they intended it, but like if you genuinely believe Vader would not put up with this, I can kind of see that on the sense of like Vader had loved a woman and his Padawan wasn't a woman, so like to some degree he would not put up with this kind of evil. But to say, quote, the Empire does not condone this, that's a bizarre take in my mind.
Here's an interesting conversation, or not conversation, but comment when people are like, this kind of stuff shouldn't be in Star Wars, but then like, no, it's not explicitly said. I don't think I've ever had a moment where it's like where rape has been said. However, as this person has noted, Jabba kept stripper slaves.
Yep.
This is a Clone Wars poll. The Cat people, the Zygerians, that gal had the hots for Anakin, and they were also selling slaves.
Yep.
They very clearly objectify Ahsoka for that purpose. The Twi'leks.
Yep.
Their whole population has been sold into sex slavery.
Yep.
Like, it's in Star Wars.
Yep. It just wasn't
It
directly
just hasn't
said.
been directly said. And the almost the worst part, she goes through all this, she says it, and all he says is, come out with your hands up. He doesn't even address it.
Yep.
And so I feel awful for Bix, because not only has she gone through this is just more horrific abuse she's had to go through.
Yep.
So things are looking bad. Yeah. Ooh, it was a rough one. Sorry, I just saw something really funny that's totally unrelated. It's related to Andor, but we'll talk about it later because I'm going to steal it for me a minute. I'm on Twitter on my phone because I wanted to see some of that tweet because I haven't gotten on the internet. So things are looking pretty bad. Looks like Bix is probably going to get taken in. Willman, I can't remember. I don't know if I looked away.
So he's trying to get back to the shack. He
Yeah.
shows up right as this other Imperial officer is about to come into the shack
Yes.
to shoot Bix, and Willman starts shooting at him and distracts him long
That's what it
enough
is.
for Bix to shoot him.
And then we get the reveal. a TIE fighter shows up and flies overhead, and it's interesting. It's Cassian. Cassian makes it. He's gonna go home, and it's interesting. I actually liked the snippets from the Imperials because you hear someone go, "That's a TIE fighter," and you hear someone else go, "Who called that in?" I just thought that was kind of cool. So they react. They're like, "Huh, what's going on?" And Cassian just lights them up.
It's great. Like they did a great job of showing the capacity for this TIE fighter, even with Andor really not knowing how to use it. In the first episode, what?
No, I didn't know if it was a callback to Thrawn's TIE fighter, but that was on Lothal. So
yeah, yes. Andor, he shoots open a grain silo, and all the grain crushes some TIE fighter, some stormtroopers.
People die in those in real life.
Yes,
they drown essentially in grain.
He shoots a missile. The first thing he does is just shoot a single missile and blow up the biggest transport of troopers that we see, which is not that big. But unfortunately, actually, before we kind of wrap up the plot, to just take a step back, another moment of strange levity was we see after Andor had escaped. Oh, we didn't cover that. When he escapes, it turns out he was on Yavin 4.
Oh my gosh, I thought that too. I couldn't confirm though.
Supposed to be Yavin 4 because it's the temples.
4.
You see the temples.
Yeah.
So pretty much what they have just done is plant the seeds for how the rebellion found Yavin 4, which, if you don't know, is their base in Episode 4. It's where they launched the attack on the Death Star. So that's a very funny. Like, I feel like that's by far the most fan servicey moment of the whole 2-3 episodes, but I loved it. I thought it was great. Like, I'm not gonna act like I'm above fan service.
Star Wars fans when Yavin 4 exists.
So that was a cool moment. And then he's kind of stuck in space for a little bit. We don't know fully exactly what, but he's trying to do something. He's trying to like hotwire some things, and it causes the ship to flip upside down. Yeah. And he says later he was upside down for 2 days.
And the reason he does try to contact Bix. He can't get through, and they can't get out because of the audit and the communications. So he's flying around, he's destroying stuff.
So he just shows up and just wrecks shop, takes out everyone pretty much, which is great. And it kind of feels like a moment in Star Wars Battlefront once you get into like a ship and just wipe people out. It's so fun. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, Brasso does get killed. He got shot on the speeder bike.
Yeah.
Which is very sad. He then, gets I forgot his name already. Willman and Bix, they get on the ship on the TIE fighter together and they fly away. Oh, also, during this whole final segment, we are cutting between the wedding dance, which is techno music.
It's going back and forth between the techno music and Bix,
Andor
and Bix fighting this Imperial officer, like
yes.
the wed. Oh, that.
But this is the music playing over the final sequence, which is when. Let's see what.
Oh yeah, because it just starts playing.
Let's see if this is. Okay, this is not it. So we have Mon Mothma dancing at the wedding, and then it cuts back. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, I'm not finding the exact moment here.
It's club trap music.
Oh, so it is cutting between 3 different things. It's Mon Mothma dancing for very sad reasons. Even though it's a happy wedding, she herself is the saddest person in the galaxy, besides probably Bix. And so we see them kind of quickly mourning Brasso's death and flying off. We also see Tay being what we assume is being driven to his death.
Yeah.
And this is the music we're hearing as they're flying off. It is a choice. But then so they're just looking, our heroes in the TIE fighter are just looking
horrified.
Just totally hollowed out. It is just horrible. And everyone is sad.
The dancing.
And then it cuts back to Mon Mothma dancing, and she's kind of fully into it now, but it's also just like
she's lost in the sauce.
Yes, and then it cuts to black, and just no music.
The credits are silent. Oh my gosh.
Well, only for like a few seconds.
Oh.
The music does slowly come in,
real soft.
but the cut to black. I was not like super sold on the first 2 episodes, but this 3rd episode really tied it all together and just it is. We are so back, baby. This is it.
it's just, and so one thing I meant to touch on, they don't have B2 Emo with them. They're going to leave, and they have left B2 Emo with Brasso's girlfriend, wife. The reason I think that she lived there is because she already had a daughter. Or, no, that was not her daughter. My bad. There's a lot of light-haired women that I kind of got
they're
mixed up.
very like Scandinavian looking on this planet.
And so the reason I'm pretty sure that he met her there is because they're like, B2 Emo, we're going to leave you here. And he's like, well, no, I want to see Cassian. And his girly friend says, you'll stay here. We'll be fine. So I think
she's from there.
Makes sense.
Yep.
So
makes a lot of sense.
It's just I sent Cameron. I'm going to read. You might have sent to this. This is the text I sent Cameron after I finished it. I sent him this right as you were starting it. So I sent. There's this low res picture of Elmo, the Sesame Street character, looking absolutely horrified on a red background. If you Google it, it's probably you're just gonna find it. I sent that, and it's 10:30 at night, and I said, "Holy shit, what a start to the season!" Because I just finished it. So no spoilers, but it, really, you just hit the ground running.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
it's good stuff. It's real good.
It's so good. We're in for a treat, y'all.
So I want to do just general thoughts. I definitely want to end on a positive. So I'll give what's probably my biggest general criticism, and it's not even really a strong criticism. It's just kind of an observation of what could go wrong for the rest of the season. Mm-hmm. I think this was very strong, this first opening, ultimately. But one of my biggest frustrations with, seasons past the first season of a TV show / sequels. So in the first season, every plot thread, they're all connected. Mm-hmm. Like, mainly what I'm thinking about is like Cyril and Deidre, they're hunting after our main hero. Cyril himself is obviously very much a mirror image of Andor. Like it focuses on his relationship with his mother as well. Like they are both mirrors. Like there is a very clear reason why we would cut to a character like Cyril dealing with his mother. Like this is not just a random character. He's a mirror image of our main character.
Whether your mother is loving or not, your kids can still be radicalized.
And so like there's never really a time in Andor season 1 you feel like, why are we looking at this plot thread? You may or may not like a plot thread, but you understand, like, they're all these characters know each other. And they all kind of know, okay, each character knows, okay, those things are happening, and they are, like, why what each character is doing affects the main story. What then oftentimes happens in follow-up seasons to a TV show or a movie is we then only have a character, not because they are actually tied to our main story anymore, but because they were in the first season. So I think that is potentially the trap you could fall into with Cyril. Is now the only reason we are seeing Cyril and Deidre have lunch or dinner with Cyril's mom is because they are main characters from the first season. This no longer has anything to do with our main story thread. It has nothing to do. These characters are just off doing their own thing. Now, I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought I actually really appreciate this show is doing an incredible balancing act of tones. And it's got nothing to do with the Empire. It's got nothing to do with rebellion. It's just, these are characters from the first season, and here's what they're doing now.
Yeah. I think the connecting point's going to be Gorman.
Yes. Deidre's plot, I think it will play back in, absolutely. But Cyril's relationship with his mother is so far removed.
That's what we really wanted to see the conclusion of.
Yeah.
We really just wanted to see Cyril move out from his mom's apartment.
I guess like a great show, I don't really care what you're doing. If it's great, it's great. I don't really I'm not that concerned with its like plot relevance. If it's good, if it's entertaining, if it's compelling. What I'm saying though is you got to be careful. And it doesn't, like, ultimately I guess what I'm pointing out is this show is really risking. It's kind of risky choices. Like a lot of these choices could, like, I think for me, the scenes where I kind of tuned out the most is Brasso and Bix.
I kind of tuned out in the first couple episodes with them too.
In the first season, their segments ultimately make sense because we come back around. Like, we really need to understand the people of Ferrix and why they want to rebel. That makes sense to me. But it did end up paying off because they needed to be saved by Andor, and that was a great payoff moment of those plots coming together. Again, on the other side, like, why is Andor spending 2 episodes with these losers on Yavin 4? Like, what's the point? I am not actually complaining. I'm just saying this show is walking a thin line, and right now it is on the good side.
Yeah.
But it's another example of, like, the show Andor does a lot of things that other shows totally screw up, and it just does them good. Like, ultimately, like, a decision, an inclusion, a plot thread, these things are not inherently good or bad. It's just how you do it.
Yeah.
It's how the actors execute it. Like, ultimately, the dinner sequence with Cyril, Deidre, and Cyril's mom is the performances. Just sell it. And it's just, I think a big execution of this show is just, how can we make Star Wars feel more human? And that's a very human sequence.
I'm just glad they I have Athena.
Welcome back to the mic, to the pod. She's upset there's no black cats in this episode.
I'm just glad that they, like, kind of finished out the plot with the dinner plot.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I could have handled the emotional whiplash of this horrific attempted rape scene.
Sure.
This horrible, sad wedding dance, and then Cyril's mom complaining
Annoying
about how
Jewish
he was a
mom.
weak little boy.
Uh-huh.
I was already at this point, I'm like, this is insane. I don't think I could have handled the emotional whiplash. But I kind of decided going into this show that I'm like, I think I'm okay not being on social media while this show airs, for the most part.
Yeah.
Anyways, just wild.
So, do you have any other, like, criticisms before we kind of just say, what you did ultimately overall perspective look like, which I'm sure is positive?
No?
Overall, I feel like we've kind of hit at it overall, but, like, it's just more. It's just like they've seamlessly, I feel, transitioned into season 2.
They have. I'm curious to see what will happen now because we get a year. Things will have changed in a year, probably quite significantly.
Yeah, I think I am so thankful that they dropped all 3 episodes at once because,
oh my gosh, me too. Can you imagine?
I don't know. I think from a viewer perspective, I think I would have just been more confused at what was going on than anything because there's so much going on, and, like, it is very much one story being told over all 3 episodes. And secondly, as a podcast, I think we would have struggled to, like, know exactly how to dissect these things. I think especially with the middle episode. So I think I'm very glad that we got this whole little arc together so we can just talk about it all at once and see it all at once. The challenging thing I think the show will have is there's not a lot of momentum going forward. I'm very, very curious to see to what degree do these exact plot threads carry over into the next, like, what in a year later, what's going to be happening in all these characters' lives.
I'll bet Deidre and Cyril will be established on Gorman.
It's very, but it was like, it's just an interesting choice.
They had to get dinner with his mom because they're going to move.
So we're going to jump a year down the road. Will that disrupt the plot flow? Will that make it I think that those transitions, those choices are going to be very interesting. This first part really benefited from the year jump from season 1 to season 2 is a very natural jump just between seasons, and jumping at the beginning of a season, no matter what's happening, you're dropping in with the characters. So it makes sense that the first episode of a season, okay, we're going to drop in and we're going to find the characters wherever they are.
Yeah.
But for the 4th episode and the 8th episode, 4th, 7th, 10th. Yes. 4th, 7th, and 10th to do the same thing. I think that's just going to be interesting. I'm curious to see how they execute it.
If my thought connection is correct, that Imperial Navy officer at the wedding was going to tell Luthen they're all going to Gorman, that's how Luthen's going to figure out that there's something there. That could be the connection point.
Absolutely. you have any just kind of summarizing thoughts?
Oh,
Or just anything you just really like that we didn't get to talk about in detail or at
it
all?
looked pretty. There are a lot of wide shots. There are a lot of centralized wide shots.
Oh,
in these
it's just a
episodes.
gorgeous show.
Oh, it's so
It is
pretty.
so well shot. I'm just it.
They-
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
It's one of these things where Diego Luna, so much time, it's been 10 years since Rogue One? It's 2015?
Great. It's been a little over 8 years.
I don't do math. As I'm looking at this, I'm not looking at him going, there's no way he can go straight into Rogue
Sure.
One. He's barely aged.
Yeah. No, I think they've done a good job with the casting. I think the characters are so in their actors are so in their characters. They just sell at this point. This is just a well-oiled machine that they just know
Yeah.
how to tell these stories.
I-
They're taking risks. Please go ahead.
I do wonder if Cassian's essentially going to lose someone each arc, though.
It's very
Because by the
possible.
time we see him in Rogue One, he doesn't have anyone. It's him and K2SO.
Yep. Oh, I think K2SO gets introduced in the next arc.
He's got to replace one droid with another.
Uh-huh.
But it makes me wonder if he's going to lose like Willman and then like Bix last,
Uh-huh.
and that just like is his full switch into that cold-blooded killer we kind of see in
Yep.
Rogue One, which would be sad.
Yeah. I think there's gonna be a lot of loss. Andor and Mon Mothma are the only characters in Saw Gerrera that we know that have to survive. Everyone else is kind of expendable.
Yeah.
I
wonder if
hope we
we'll-
get more Krennic. I don't know if we will or not.
I wonder if we'll see Galen Erso at any point.
Yeah, that was because at first I thought Krennic was getting together a bunch of people for Death Star specifically. I think there's a very good chance we see Galen at some
Or
point.
mention maybe.
Galen being Jyn Erso's father, the man who designed the Death Star.
And the flaw. The important part.
Yes.
So, yeah. Ugh.
Look, super
Rough.
excited. I think
So good.
this is honestly a season 2 of Andor simultaneously has a lot to live up to and could be a disaster.
Yeah.
And like anything it doesn't do well is magnified by the fact the first season is so good. So it's hard not to get over excited, get over hyped, but like
It's almost like it's like a movie each week.
pretty much it really is.
They're like 45 to 50 minutes, and they don't feel like it at all.
I mean, it's paced very well. It's so compelling, and I as an editor myself, I am
As an editor
shocked by like the choices they're making at when to cut, because they could show, if they wanted to, they could show entire plot threads all at once. Like they wait to really show Cyril and Deidre until the 3rd episode, which is the dark episode. Like
dark times.
they are making choices onto when to show certain scenes, when to cut between certain scenes. The choice to cut to black on Mon Mothma, like these are not baked in. It does not have to happen in this order, especially with how separated these characters are, and it's brilliant. It's so good. I'm excited to come back next week and talk about the next 3. I think. Also, I feel like we've seen most of what we saw in the trailers. Like, there's
Yeah.
a few things left, but not much.
I wasn't expecting the TIE fighter scene to be like the first episode.
Oh, that was something I was going to say. Is
okay.
I think this show's great, and I don't think that they're bowing to any sort of like corporate mandate, but it does feel like maybe Disney leaned on them a little bit to make something exciting happen earlier, because I think a lot of people they dropped the first 2 episodes of Andor at once, and not a lot exciting happens in that. I myself thought it was pretty slow, and I thought, okay, I think this is going to be good, but it is a slow start. The fact that they start with the TIE fighter sequence, I don't think is an accident.
like,
I think that is very much meant to pull people in faster.
Yeah.
So, ultimately, super happy with what's happening so far. Meme minute, but it's longer than a minute. But is it longer than a meme parsec or a meme astrosecond? I think I have 1 or 2 videos. What have you got this week?
I have 1 video and 6 images.
Okay, go ahead and play a video for me.
It's nothing too crazy, but speaking of Sam Neill.
I saw this.
This is just a video of Samuel driving around what looks to be his property in a little like gator with someone in an inflatable raptor with him. That's it to the Jurassic Park theme.
Very wholesome and very funny. I liked it a lot. Oh, Rebels, get a verified badge. Subscribe to Meta Verified and get a verified badge through enhanced verification with a government ID. Well, guess what? My government ID does not say the name Rebels and Robots on it, so I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, I definitely have memes saved. Where are we? Did the same thing last week. And I clicked on the wrong collection again. Okay, here we go. I think, it's just the one. I'll just let it play and speak for itself.
Everyone here can transport except for you, Bumblebee. Even Buzz? Especially Buzz. He's some kind of blade.
So it's multiple Transformers toys who can transform on their own, and Buzz Lightyear. And Optimus Prime says, we're all to transform except for Bumblebee. And Bumblebee says, even Buzz, especially Buzz. And he just falls over and breaks his hand. And Optimus says, he's some sort of airplane. Big fan. There's a bunch of other videos. Blind Neighborhood Nerd is the name of the channel. They do a bunch of these. They're really entertaining. Anyways, what do you got?
Imagine drunk driving this bad boy after 20 beers.
Oh my God.
It's Mechagodzilla.
Very
It's
good.
OG Mechagodzilla. That's very important. Maybe not OG. I think it's not Toho.
Oh my gosh.
Some of the later iterations, but not the latest.
That's all the memes I have, so just keep
Oh,
going.
okay. Here we go. We made a bet on how soon this would happen in our podcast.
Oh my gosh, no!
This is a picture of Manila, baby Godzilla, son of Godzilla, riding on Godzilla's shoulders. It is captioned "Chicken Jockey." Where if you live under a rock.
That is already aged like milk, and it's the first time we're referencing it on this podcast.
So this is a clip. It's a scene from Toy Story 4, just a screen grab. Beast Wars Megatron coming up with a plan to get back to Cybertron. You want to get out of here? Get rid of that monkey. I would like you to read this one.
So it's an image of a TIE fighter, but it has Thomas the Tank Engine's face on it. Thomas gunned down the rebels without mercy. I am a good TIE fighter, said Thomas. Very good.
You're welcome.
Thomas the TIE fighter.
I think you would get... you're going to enjoy this. It's labeled Cybertron and then the rest of the universe.
So it's the Kingsman sequence when all the people in the church are fighting each other, and you have the British secret agent played by, I want to forget his famous British actor whose name and he's just standing there watching everyone in the church like, fighting each other and killing each other. Everyone's marked Cybertron. He's marked rest of the universe, which is
fairly canonical in most iterations, because in most universes there's not just Transformers, there are other species. They hate them. They're they've ruined it for everyone else. I just found this one on Twitter. This is what I was unintentionally laughing at when we were talking about the horrific abuse that Bix has suffered.
Gosh dang it.
Live surreal reaction. It's the image of him lying on the bed.
Like, there's just so many, like, there are some things you see it happen and I kind of cringe, like, I cringe at the idea, like, people are going to use that for a meme. There are other things that happen, I'm like, that is an already icon. The moment it happened, that's an iconic image. Surreal on the bed, iconic. Is so good.
Just.
What else you got?
That's it. That's actually it. Sorry.
That's it. Well, thank you, listeners, for joining us for part 1 of our 4-week. We're actually going to have 5 episodes in a row because it's going to go 4 weeks of Andor, and then the next week we're doing Jurassic Park. So strap in, get ready, non-stop coming at you. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. As always, thank you to Caleb Jacoby for our intro and outro music. Thank you, Rachel, for gathering memes on the internet. Thank you to our editor, Athena,
who made a guest appearance.
Who made a little guest appearance. Got little scratches. She also, I didn't get a chance. I didn't want to interrupt you, but she was doing crunchies earlier.
doing crunchies.
Little crunch cam. Let us know what you think about all the stuff in Andor. Do you want to learn Star Wars rock paper scissors?
No, we'd have to bring in 3 other people to do that on this podcast.
What do you think of the Gorman spiders? They're there. What is?
There's too many
what is it-
spiders
is
in
it-
Star Wars.
What's the name for the fear of spiders?
Arachnophobia.
Arachnophobia. Thank you. There's that, like, you can turn on arachnophobia mode in Jedi Survivor, and it removes the giant spiders. Like, they need that on Disney Plus now.
Another one. Imagine drunk driving one of these, and it's the
Uh-huh.
it's the TIE fighter.
He kind of was. Like, even though he was not intoxicated, he looked like he was. Yeah. This is Cameron and Rachel signing off, saying,
So go back to the club.
Oh, wait. Say something.
I am saying something now.
I
so
can hear
test
you
your
now.
Oh, is there
it's
like
my it's my headphones that are janked up. So if I turn the volume up all the way, I can only hear you through one.
Oh, that's weird.
But if I dink it down just a little bit, I can hear you through both.
This is
and
good.
myself.
This is
but
good stuff. This is
if-
definitely staying in the podcast.
Yeah. Oh my, we're gonna get
That's,
copyrighted.
that's what my AC sounds like when it's not running very well.
You should get your AC checked out.
Yeah, well, talk to my landlord about that.
Will do. Got it.
Oh, I might just leave this at the ending, but I might. Speaking of, okay, so I'll cut this. I'm trying to think about. Okay, I forgot to mention. I'll save it for next time.